is my social communication disorder? Where is it? How do I view it? Ayan, may 4 na tayo dito. Hello, Rex Benson. Hello. Ayan, so since it's 2 o'clock, guys, pwede na kayo mag-start. Kung sinong may tanong dyan, first come, first serve po tayo dito. So, yes, kung meron po kayong tanong, yes, in-end ko na po yung sa Facebook. Nandito na tayo ngayon. So, I am trying to figure out kung paano ko makikita yung chat. Alright. Yes, Miss Gail, we're starting. Kian and Robbie, hello, Happy New Year. Can you tell me more about social communication disorder? So I don't know if you missed the video, but I actually already made a video on social communication disorder. That was episode 56. So, if napanood nyo na yon, but then meron kayong ibang tanong about social communication disorder, parang it would help me if i-specify nyo po kung ano mismo yung information na hinahanap nyo pa para mas malaman ko kung may kailangan pa ba akong i-research or hindi, nakalimutan ko lang sabihin dun sa video. So let me know what details you want to find out. So, Blessed New Year, Jack Manalastas. Thank you. Anong nangyayari dito? Bakit hindi ko nakikita yung messages? Ayun, okay. Hello, Desiree Garde Torres. Hello. Hello, Cecil Rosqueta. Natatapos po ba ang therapy sa GDD? So GDD, since it is global developmental delay, and ang inaasahan is delayed siya, and if it's not a disorder, na maihahabol natin yung skills ng bata sa appropriate sa kanyang edad. So, matatapos yung therapy kapag nakita natin na akma na yung language age niya sa chronological age niya. So, I discussed these terms about kung delay or disorder siya in my video called, in my episode, anong episode yun? Teka lang. Kala ko na ayos ko na to pero mahirap pa rin palang hanapin. Episode 37, I talk about delay or disorder. And then, the episode on GDD, meron din akong episode on that. That's episode 39. So, kung mapanood nyo po yung delay or disorder, tapos makita natin na, pagka natapos, usually kasi ang GDD na diagnose yan kapag before 5 years old. So, meron kasing posibilidad na environmental factors yung nagkukos ng delay ng bata or lifestyle or habits. But kapag lumagpas na ng 5 years old at hindi pa rin catch up yung bata doon sa skills na appropriate doon sa kanyang chronological age, mas nakikita natin na there is a possibility na may underlying cause yung kanilang kaya hindi sila natututo magsalita or makipag-communicate. So, that is when you need an assessment to see baka disorder na yon. Now, if it's a disorder na, so beyond 5 years old, then you will have to keep continuing therapy hanggang you can help the child become functional sa kanyang pang-araw-araw na gawain. So, I hope that I answered that question. Happy New Year, Roger Lynn! I hope I answered the question, Cecil. Yes, I'm wearing Snoopy. Actually, pambahay to, but it's so comfy. Kaya parang ilang araw ko na tong pinagsunod-sunod. You're welcome, Keenan Robbie. Nice to see your name here again. Hi, Rosie. Is it true that if we talk to our baby in different languages at the same time, it will lead to language delay? Thank you. Oh my gosh. You know what? I should write that down na. In my notes, I keep forgetting. Gusto ko siya talaga laging tugunan kasi lagi rin siyang nagiging question. That is a myth na kapag sabay-sabay nating kinakausap yung mga bata in different languages na nakakakos ito ng language delay. Actually, contrary to the fact, nakakadagdag sa parang may ibang mga nasi-stimulate na parts of the brain kapag multilingual ang isang bata. Napakaraming benefits na maging multilingual ang bata. So, ang mga nakakaaliw pa dito is from 0 to 3 years old, where yung development ng brains ng mga bata, sobrang boom yan, sobrang bilis. It is at this stage na kahit anong ituro niyong lingwahe sa bata, and what I mean about kahit ano is, basta naman meaningful sa household nyo. Hindi yung tipong, ay, tuturuan ko siyang mag-French kasi ang ganda ng French. Pero walang mag-French sa inyo sa bahay. So it needs to be a language na ginagamit nyo actually sa pang-araw-araw. Meaningful sa inyong lahat. So, for example, nag-uusap kayo ng Bicolano sa bahay, nagtatagalog din kayo, nag-English kayo, at for some reason, nagsa-Spanish kayo. So, there's actually 4 languages in your household. Pero lahat yan, nagagamit nyo to like, minsan, ang tawag, sabihin mo, kunyari, uutusan mo yung bata, tapos, minsan, ang sinasabi mo ay, halika dito. Minsan, sinasabi mo, benaki, or something like that. So, basta meaningful dun sa bata, it should be all good. Matututunan din niya yan. Now, what if meron ng speech delay yung bata? Still, continue to use the languages that you naturally use at home. There is still no factor that says, or any studies that say, na kapag may delay na ay tigilan mo ng, parang pumili ka na ng isang language. Except na lang, syempre, if you really want to buckle down, nakikita nyo, hirap na talaga nung bata, then choose the words, parang you target words regardless of the language, but you target the specific words based on functionality, not based on the language sa pang-araw-araw na gawain ninyo. What are the other considerations? Also, hindi na to connected dun sa question mo, but just about talking in different languages. Meron din kasing mga nagtatanong na, teacher, yung anak namin, lahat kami nagtatagalog dito sa bahay, pero yung anak ko, English lang ang alam. So, kapag tanong, parang nagiging concern nyo, sounds a little bit like this, magtataka kayo, saan nga nakukuha yung English? So, it might be na dahil kakanood yan ng mga English videos, nursery rhymes, stories. So, posibleng akala nyo nag-i-English siya, pero memorized phrases yan from dun sa pinapanood niya. And that's a completely different story na. That's already a sign of screen addiction. But yes, just to summarize my answer for that para maging mas madali, no. Multilingualism, bilingualism does not, hindi siya nakakasama or nakaka-cause ng language delay. Alright. Miss Gail, yung step sisters ko po, 5 years old and 4 years old. Yung 5 years old, nag-start na po mag-school and super daldal na. Yung 4 years old, puro sounds lang po. Me and da lang. I suggested to the parents to, ay, ganito din dito. Putol din yung message. I don't know if putol talaga, like, ikaw yung nag-dot-dot or naputol siya. But okay, just from that, Miss Gail, kapag 4 years old na at sounds pa lang ang nagagawa na sa sound exploration stage, for example, me or da, that's called babbling. Or baka nasa word approximation. So baka pag sinasabing me ay mommy, or kapag di, daddy. So these are what we call word approximations, na ginagamit nila yung parts of the word dahil hindi pa nila masabi yung buong word. But for 4 years old, sure na po ako na that is already a sign of a delay, because at 4 years old actually nakakapagkwento na ang mga bata. They are expected to already recount kunyari yung mga nangyari in the same day. Kunyari, pag uwi mo ng bahay, tapos tinanong mo, oh, anong ginawa mo today? Makakapagsabi na yan, naglaro kami ni kuya, kumain kami ng cookies ni daddy, na tumatakbo ako, tapos nadapa ako. So, di ba, short lang yung sentences formation, pero marami na siyang nasasabi. So, kung nasa sound exploration stage pa lang siya, that is actually a skill for 6 months to mga 1 year old. Yan yung mga dapat word approximation level. But as early as 18 months kasi, dapat meron na siyang roughly 10 to 50 words na nasasabi. So I suggest, Miss Gail, na ang tingnan yung maaari yung mga gawin is Kung merong screen or gadget exposure yung bata, tanggalin muna. I suggest you go on a screen detox because this could be contributing or nakakasama ito sa kanyang language development, and especially na nakikita nating huli na nga siya, meron na nga siyang speech delay, language delay. This is the first thing that we want to remove kasi yun, nakokontrol natin yun. At next thing is dahil 4 years old na and medyo malaki na yung kailangan nating habulin, I suggest na kung meron po kayong resources at access, meaning ang access po ay meron naman kayong pang let's say teletherapy or may malapit na speech language center sa speech language therapy center sa inyo, ay magpa-assess na po kasi it is likely na napakalayo na, like I said, napakalayo na yung skills na kailangan niyang habulin, na kung magpa-assess tayo, kailangan makita na kung ano yung nagwa-cause ng problem, kung bakit hindi niya matutunan kung paano magsalita. So I hope that that helps you. And if you have any follow-up questions, guys, sa lahat ng nagtatanong, sige lang, comment lang kayo ng comment dyan. It's a little better here, ha? Hindi nagsi-self-scroll yung chat. So I like this better. Hi, Jean! So glad to see you also. Happy New Year! Thank you for dropping by. I don't know kung nandito ka pa, but yes, hello. Leslie, my daughter, 1 year old and 8 months, hindi pa din po nagsasalita, pero ngayon nagbababble pa lang po siya. Okay, so like I said kanina, babbling starts at around 6 months. Nag-i-intensify yan at around 8 months. But so at 1 year and 6 months, that's 18 months, right? Yan, dapat po nasa may at least 10 to at most 50 words na ang nasasabi nila. So, kung nasa babbling pa po siya, so the same first step for me is kung nanonood ang bata ng videos on cellphone, TV, whatever screens, itigil po muna. That is my first piece of advice. Second piece of advice, yung babbling po niya, pakigawa po yung mga tips ko on episode 5 about baby sounds and turning baby sounds into words. Pero a very short sample of that is, for example, nagbababble siya, yung mga binababble niya, hanapan mo ng ibig sabihin. So, for example, nung binababble niya, kunyari, nagtitinginan kayo, naglalambingan kayo, ganyan. Tapos sinasabi niya, me, ganyan. So, you're assuming na kinakausap ka niya, mommy. Pwedeng sabihin mo, are you saying, mommy? Yes, mommy. Tapos, pwede mong i-highlight yung mga missing niyang sounds. So, dahil nasasabi na niya yung me, mas lakasan mo ngayon yung mommy, at saka kung anong mga kailangan niyang galawin. So, pwede mong hawakan yung chin niya para ma-explore niya, pwede kong baba yung mouth ko para masabi ko yung ma na sound. So, these are just some of the starter things that you can do with babbling. Is i-encourage mo sila na may iba pang galaw ang pwede sa bibig at sa lips at sa tongue at etc. And another tip is, for example, ayan, kunyari meron tayong notebook, di ba? For everything na nakita mong pinapanood ka ng bata, tapos kunyari, nandito yung bata, tapos alam mong nakatingin siya sa'yo, tapos tinitingnan mo yung calendar mo, yung diary mo. So mo, notebook, notebook. So, this kind of sound awareness also is very helpful for introducing phonics for beginner readers, para aware sila na oo, yung salitang notebook ay nagsisimula sa tunog na notebook. So this is a very general tip about increasing sound awareness, phonic awareness, but also it will help increase nga yung possibility na mas marami silang words na masasabi. Also, episode 4 about commentary, buhol. Episode 4 on commentary or dubbing is, so sinabi ko doon na lahat ng ginagawa mo, basta alam mong nanonood sa'yo yung anak ninyo, or lahat ng ginagawa ng bata, parang i-dub nyo siya. So, you can see the full demo on the video, pero sige, kuha lang ako ng... So, for example, si baby, kunyari, dumidede, ang laki. So, kunyari, nagdi-drink siya. So, while nagdi-drink siya, ulit-ulitin mo lang, drinking, inom ng milk. Sarap ng milk. Dodo niya yan eh. Yes. Drinking si baby ng milk. So, ulitin mo lang yung ginagawa ng bata para naiintindihan niya na, baka yan yung salita. To mean, ito yung ginagawa ko. And you think hindi ka naiintindihan ng bata, but all of this is, leading to them understanding and making connections and making associations. And that is the main principle of learning, is that nakikita natin kung paano ang gamit ng isang bagay, and then eventually gagamitin na natin siya kapag naintindihan na natin. So I hope that those tips help you, Mommy Leslie. So, Mommy ni Megan, may face-to-face consultation po ba kayo? Dati meron, pero ito nga since nag-start ng pandemic, kaya ako sinimulan tong channel na to, medyo na separation anxiety ako sa trabaho ko. Hindi pa po ako bumabalik sa face-to-face therapy kasi ang kasama ko po dito sa bahay ay 4 na seniors. So, medyo praning pa po akong lumabas at bumalik sa clinic. Mas lalo na ang trabaho namin as therapist ay sobrang lapit sa mga bata. At ang mga bata, poor pa ang kanilang control sa mga kailangan nilang gawin. So, konting kunyari, may sipon yung bata, di ba? Gaganyan. Tapos, hahawakan niya yung toys or hahawakan niya yung mukha mo. So, malaki kasi masyado yung chances na, magkahawahanan. Ako personally, so I'm not saying huwag kayong magpa-therapy ngayon sa panahon na to because it depends on the centers and the therapists, and there are so many safety protocols that are they're doing now to ensure everyone's safety, but it's just my personal choice, hindi pa po ako bumabalik sa face-to-face therapy. But Mommy ni Megan, if you can comment mo sa akin kung taga saan po kayo, maaaring mahanapan ko kayo ng therapist na malapit sa area nyo kung komportable po kayo sa face-to-face therapy. But also, for anyone in this live stream, kung kailangan nyo po ng therapist, meron din po kayong option na mag-try ng teletherapy. And I talk about teletherapy in episode 3 kung gusto nyo pong panoorin. So, Rex Venson, hi Teacher Kaye, home techniques para sa GDD, speech delay po. So, actually po, lahat po ng linalaman ng channel ko ay language stimulation techniques. Now, obviously, hindi lahat ng techniques ay magagamit mo sa lahat ng bata because hindi tayo formula. Pero, and that's why, just because you say GDD, hindi ako makabigay ng specific because I need to know kung ano yung naggagawa na ng anak ninyo at ano yung hindi pa nagagawa. So, ano yung next goal nyo? Ano yung gusto mong maituro next dun sa bata? So, if you can give me medyo konting detalye pa tungkol sa mga pangangailangan ng anak nyo or ano na yung skills niya ngayon, I can give you better tips kung alin yung feeling kong techniques. Baka nagawan ko na ng video and then I can at least masasabi ko sa inyo kung saan hahanapin yung sagot. Yuan, hello! Mario Oklak, Happy New Year! Thank you! Happy New Year din sa inyo at sa yung buong pamilya. Jack, Teacher Kaye, how can I... nag-skip na siya. And then, okay. I can go back. Hi, how can I know if kailan ko po malalaman na magiging consistent na yung talking ni Zion? My 5-year-old son for now po, only 2 syllables lang kaya niya and minsan kakalabit lang siya kapag may gusto. So because yung tanong nyo is kailan natin malalaman kung kailan magiging consistent, that is a mystery to anyone. Parang hindi naman po tayo nakakapag-pinpoint in therapy. Kahit gaano kagaling yung therapist na yan, hindi niya masasabing, sa tingin ko, in 6 months, okay na yung bata, nakahabol na siya. So, hindi po natin yung nasasabi because bawat bata ay may iba-ibang response sa techniques, bawat bata ay may iba-ibang weaknesses and strengths. So, and then, dinescribe niyo po kung ano yung ginagawa niya. So, number 1, 5 years old na po yung anak ninyo and 2 syllables pa lang. So, this is very similar to yung in-explain ko kanina kay... Sorry, nakalimutan ko na yung name kanina. Na because at 5 years old, dapat marami nang nasasabi yung bata. So, I also want to give you the same techniques na sinabi ko sa kanya. If you can please practice the dubbing video, which is episode 4. And then you can also try the extension and expansion technique, which is, I think, I'm correct, episode 30. So, dito po nakikita yung, for example, you're going to use the syllables and sounds na nasasabi na ng bata. So, for example, kunyari, hawak to ng anak ninyo, itong toy na to. This is kung confused kayo kung ano to, this is a black sheep. Joke yan sa akin kasi black sheep daw ako ng family. Kasi ako lang ngayon hindi nagdoktor. So anyway, so kunyari naglalaro kayo sa sheep, tapos sinasabi ng bata, she. So, you can assume na it's a word approximation for sheep, ganyan. So, you instead of just repeating the syllables na nasasabi na niya, buuin mo na, sabihin mo na sheep, you're talking about the sheep nung natin, sheep natin na black, it's a black sheep, and then bibigyan mo pang sound effects para marami siyang associations about color, about size. It's a big black sheep with big feet and small hands, smaller hands. So, these extension and expansion techniques can really help po na makapick up ng bagong mga words and concepts ng anak nyo, even if you're saying the thing over and over. So, again, para sa mga bago, because yung mga matatagal na dito, alam na to, but repeat and repeat and repeat. Alam kong nakakapagod siya, but talaga, to teach a child, to teach anyone, kailangan ulitin natin hanggang mag-gets nila. And a child will have to hear a new word 12 to 50, sometimes 200 times, depende sa kanyang learning capacity, bago niya maintindihan at bago pa niya magamit. So yes, kailangan, so that's why we call it language stimulation, or kapag sinasabi natin, binabarrage natin, yung parang, sige, batuhin mo ng lahat ng salitang maaaring tinitingnan or nakikita niya or nararamdaman niya or whatever. So, I have a tip about using all your senses to describe everything to them, because kapag nabombard mo sila ng sobrang daming salita, at the right timing is also important, malaki yung chance na pwede kong gamitin yun next time. Yun pala yun. So, pwede ko yun sabihin, etc. So, I hope that helps you, Jack. Also, nung sinabi mo na minsan kakalabit siya kapag may gusto, meron akong episode 8 and 8.1 na merong English and Tagalog versions kasi favorite technique ko to. So, this is about opportunities and obstacles. And may mga techniques dun sa episode na yon which talk about, for example, kapag kinalabit ka, so naturally, nung instinct natin as the grown-ups, di ba, kapag may lumapit sa ating bata, tapos kinalabit tayo, alam na natin ang ibig sabihin nun, I need help, or may gusto ko yan, for example, gusto ko tong laruan, for example, or kung may pagkain dyan, tapos nakita mong inaabot niya yung pagkain, gusto niya yung pagkain. So, gestures pa lang, naiintindihan na natin sila. But, kapag napapansin natin na, bakit puro gestures na lang? Bakit hindi siya magsalita? Dito natin try i-shift yung ating own habits into maybe providing more opportunities or obstacles for the child. So, kung kinalabit ka, atas alam mong ang gusto pala niya ay yung toy, wag mo muna ibigay yung toy. Sabi mo, gusto? Gusto mo nitong sheep? Pahiram? Bigay yung sheep, and then tingnan mo kung alin dun sa mga sounds yung maaaring gayahin niya bago mo ibigay. So it could be she, or gi for give, or bi for bigay, or ram for hiram. So ang gusto lang natin is maintindihan nila na pwede kang magsalita. Mas efficient kapag ginamit mo yung salita mo, because some kids, kapag nasanay sila nakakalabitin ka lang, tas ibibigay mo na, di parang ang nagiging message sa kanila is, yun lang pala kakalabit lang pala ako, makukuha ko na. So, it doesn't motivate them to do something extra, to make more of an effort, to do something else, di ba? So, these are some of the tips. Madami pa po yan in those two videos. Again, it's episode 8 and 8.1 po dito po sa YouTube. You can look for it for more tips on that. City, hi teacher, ano po ang techniques para makuha ko ang attention ng baby ko pag tinatawag ko siya? He is 2 and hindi pa rin siya nagre-respond pag tinatawag ang name niya. So number 1 is making sure that alam niya ang pangalan niya. Ay, hindi, sorry, hindi to number 1. Can I backtrack again? I changed my mind. Number 1 is, naririnig ka ba niya? So, we want to check first kung okay ang hearing ng bata. Now, it's possible na because wala naman atang nakakalabas ng ospital kung sa ospital pinanganak ng hindi dumadaan sa newborn screening. So, sa newborn screening, kasama na dyan ang hearing test. Kahit nakapasa siya ng hearing test sa newborn screening dahil 2 years old na siya, meron ng 2 years na kahit ano, may posibleng nangyari. So, kailangan natin i-check muna ang hearing. Kasi ang hearing ay, syempre, hindi niya mapaperceive kung hindi kanya naririnig, hindi niya wala siyang maintindihan. Kasi actually, hindi pala pumapasok yung information sa kanyang utak. Next, I'll give you the link on how to home check hearing first. Home muna. Kapag ginawa nyo na tong home check at meron pa kayong suspetsya na, shocks, parang hindi ako naririnig, saka po kayo pumunta sa doktor at magpa actual hearing test po sa either Pedia ENT or sa audiologist. So you can check out the episode 46 for checking hearing at home. So after checking hearing, you want to know na alam ng bata yung pangalan niya. So some tips for letting them know kung anong pangalan nila is every time nagtitinginan kayo, gagamitin mo yung parang every time sasabihin mo, oh, this is Ryan. Right, mommy. So, nagiget niya na ang tinuturo ay kung sinong sinasabing word. So, that word association is, mommy loves Ryan. Who's Ryan? And then, pwedeng kunin mo yung kamay niya, tapos ipo-point niya yung sarili niya, ako si Ryan! Ryan! Mommy! So, nagiging klaro na ako si mommy at ito si Ryan. So, stuff like that, yun po ang makakapag-encourage na maintindihan niya kung anong pangalan niya. Next, para makita din niya, so bago niya, kasi medyo mas mahirap din sa kapag baby pa, wala pa silang masyadong identity. It's a skill to understand that there's a me and there's a you. So you can also name call other people in the house a lot para nagiget niya na, may label pala bawat tao sa bahay. So you can always say, Daddy! And then kailangan every time tatawagin, really, Daddy will turn around and look para nagiget niya na, kapag tinawag, dapat lilingon para makita ko kung anong kailangan, anong nangyayari, etc. What other tips? And the third tip, okay, kung meron pong screen exposure ang bata to TV or gadgets or anything, basta nakakanood po siya ng mga videos, iyon po. One of the signs of screen addiction is hindi na nagre-respond sa name. So, kahit na naka-off na yung TV, posibleng dahil hyperstimulated sila, tumatakbo pa rin yung napanood nila sa kanilang utak. So, paulit-ulit yon, and they're very distracted internally. Hindi nyo nakikita na may external distractors, like wala naman siyang linalaro. Pero internally, in their heads, they are still distracted, and that's what we call an internal distractor. Kaya kahit tinatawag mo, di pala niya gets na tinatawag na siya kasi may iba siyang iniisip, hindi na siya lilingon. So that, if you notice that sign, stops responding to name, and other signs like merong speech delay, mainitin ang ulo, or paggising pa lang sa umaga, cellphone na agad ang inaabot, or kapag nanonood siya tapos pinatay mo yung cellphone or binawi mo na yung cellphone, grabe, meltdown. So these are some of the signs of screen addiction. Ang ibig sabihin lang nito, ang unang kailangan gawin is tanggalin completely yung screen addiction, yung screen component, because it's the first factor that you can remove kung maaaring ito nga ang cause ng kanyang communication issues, bakit hindi siya lumilingon, etc. I hope that helps. And that goes for everyone in this live stream. Just in case may napapansin kayong ganyan sa anak nyo, yun din po ang aking advice. Yes, Don de la Cruz! Sa wakas! Ayan si Don, isa yan sa nagka-crying emoji dito sa YouTube na ngayon ko lang nakita. Kasi sa Facebook ako nagla-livestream. So yes, I'm so glad to meet you. I-type mo na yung question mo dyan para sigurado tayong mapapag-usapan natin ngayon. Hello, Alan. Hi. My daughter is turning 3 this month. She can sing nursery rhymes, recite, read, recognize numbers and letters but cannot say sentences. What seems to be the problem po kaya? Thanks. This is related to my previous topic of screen addiction din po, because ito po ang mga typical na ginagawa ng mga hyper-stimulated minds is often reciting the things that they watch. So this is nursery rhymes, yung mga educational shows natin that have numbers and letters and colors and shapes. Kapag napansin nyo na nare-recite nila yan, it's not that they already understand it, or yes, it's possible that they've learned it, but the learning is very superficial lang. Ibig sabihin, na-memorize lang nila to. Pero kapag tinanong mo bang, kunyari, pinakitaan mo ng, ano bang mabibilang ko dito? Wala akong mabilang. So, for example, pinakitaan natin ng, okay, look, how many ball pens? Pero sasabihin lang niya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Meaning, hindi pa nga niya man alam kung ano ang 3. There is no one-to-one correspondence of the numbers. It is just rote memorization of kung anong mga naririnig niya. So, did I say niya? Oh my gosh, ang kakatawa. Kung anong naririnig niya. So yes, lahat po kasi nung dinescribe mo is the very classic signs of hyperstimulated mind. So my advice also is mag-screen detox po tayo. Try for at least 2 weeks. And when I advise for screen detox, I'm not saying it like feeling ko madali siya, gawin nyo lang. Hindi po siya madali. Kayo mismo mag-a-adjust, because usually the time that nanonood yung bata is time for you to do other things. So if kung tanggalin mo yung time na yon na busy yung bata or occupied yung bata, and kayo mismo mag-a-adjust kayo kung anong ipapalit nyon. Also mag-a-adjust yung bata, because kung nasanay yung bata na ito ang activity ko every day, ito ang activity ko every time kumakain ako or something, tapos biglang tinanggal mo yon, obviously it's going to cause a routine issue, and children they thrive in routines in the first few years of their life kasi it's part of how they understand things. So yes, asahan po na it's not going to be easy. There's going to be an adjustment period, but trust me and trust the many parents na na-advise ko na ng ganito in this community na it works. Kung walang ibang kondisyon ng bata at screen lang pala yung nagiging cause or factor of the delay, you will see improvement in as little as 4 days. But yes, give screen detox at least 2 weeks a try, and that means absolutely nothing. I have tips on managing screen time on episode, saan siya? Episode 22 po. And if you want to hear more about the science of what happens talaga dun sa mga brains ng baby, kapag nakakanood sila, and it doesn't matter how long they watch, from babies from 0 to 2 years old, kahit na sabihin natin 2 minutes lang naman siya nanood, teacher, dahil iba-iba ang epekto sa bawat bata, hindi natin masasabi. Yung ibang bata, very resistant naman wala namang epekto sa kanila yung panonood ng screen, and parang kapag pinatay mo, okay. But if we see nga na medyo may hyperstimulation symptoms na yung bata, it's not about the amount of time. It's really, you need to completely remove the factor from the environment para makita natin at matest talaga natin kung yun yung nakakapag-cause ng delay. So I hope that helps. So those are episodes 21 and 22 about screen time and managing screen time. Maria Cecilia, hi, good afternoon. Ask ko lang, 3 years old na po ang first baby ko. Nakakapagbigkas naman siya ng alphabet, numbers, colors at ibang words. Pero yung way ng pagko-communicate niya is hindi po okay. So, Maria and Alan and yung isa ko pang kausap kanina, same. So, I hope that you listen to the same explanation. Christina, hi Teacher Kaye, yung anak ko is diagnosed ng GDD and ongoing ang OT niya, but until now, hindi pa siya nakakabuo ng any words. So, ongoing ang OT. So, I'm assuming na because you did not mention speech therapy, hindi pa siya nagsastart ng speech therapy. And there is a reason na yung doktor or that you are recommended to go through OT first because OT po ang nakakapag-prepare ng bata para maging ready for speech therapy because speech and language is a higher skill than some of the things na tinatarget ng occupational therapy, which is their executive functions, katulad ng attention, sustaining attention, improving sitting span, meaning nakakatagal ba ng 5 minutes sa isang laruan at hindi lang yung parang tigte 10 seconds lang. So, at nakakapirme ba, hindi yung tipong tayo ng tayo kahit na kunyari kakain, tapos tayo ng tayo. So, if wala pa pong go signal yung OT nyo that you can already start speech therapy, then that means that kailangan pa ng help ng child to manage their other behaviors para ma-maximize nyo po yung speech therapy. So if hindi lang nababanggit ng occupational therapist ninyo, you can ask the therapist, teacher, baka naman ready na yung anak ko, pwede na rin siyang mag-start ng speech therapy. Because yes. And because ang occupational therapy naman po, hindi naman po nila directly tinatarget yung speech and language. Na there is an indirect na nagagawa minsan ng occupational therapist because of the way that they give instructions and because kahit papano yung occupational therapy activities ay play-based din, especially kapag baby or bata. Then, anytime na napagpe-play natin ng bata is an opportunity, and nagtutok tayo habang ginagawa, yun is an opportunity for them to learn words. But, yeah, ask your OT kung baka ready na siya mag-speech therapy. I have a video explaining why OT comes first before speech therapy in episode 61. So I hope you can check that out. Miss Gay, ayun po, may kadugtong naman po pala. Okay, ito siya. I suggested to the parents to, Miss Gail, binalikan ko yung ... nahanap ko na. Schedule a check-up sa pedia, but sabi nila nasa lahi lang talaga na delayed magsalita. Kasi may pinsan din sila na delayed magsalita, and now super daldal na, and nasa normal schooling na. Paano po ma-convince na magpa-check na sila para maagapan and if ever may disorder? Okay, so very common yan. So you are not alone. I know you're concerned para dun sa pamangkin nyo. And it's a very common concern sa, I don't want to say sa Pilipinas, I'm sure all around the world, na a lot of parents will say, nasa lahi namin na may speech delay talaga. Oo, yung daddy niyan, 4 years old lang din bago nakasalita. But yung point ko is, paano naman hihintayin natin yung 4 years old? Mag 4 years old yung bata. Na, number 1, kung hinintay natin yun, wala tayong katiyakan na yung itong batang to, because itong batang to is a different person. Hindi siya exactly yung tatay niya or yung pinsan niya or whoever. So, naghintay ka nga ng 4 years old, pero hindi ka sure kung siya makakahabol. Kung siya madedevelop niya yung speech, eventually, wala tayong katiyakan doon. And ano ba naman yung mag-wait tayo ng 4 years to see kung makakapagsalita siya? Kamusta na yung 3 years before that? Parang nasasayang natin yung time na you could be bonding more with your child kasi nakakapagsalita na siya, because every stage of communication sa buhay ng isang tao is, it's simple kapag bata, but it's still meaningful. Yung matawag ka lang ng mama, o di ba nakakakilig yun? Imagine kung mawala yung, para bang tinanggal natin yung expectation that the child can do better and to say what they want and what they need and what they feel. So, dahil hindi natin natutulungan yung bata, natitake away din natin yung opportunity for them to express themselves. So, kawawa naman yung bata. So, I have a post on this. Ipopost, i-share ko. It's on my Instagram. Lahat naman yung sinashare ko sa Instagram, nasa Facebook ko rin. But, it's easier for me kasi to find the post on Instagram kasi yun lang yung mga sinashare ko doon. Saglit lang. So, I made a post there about why you shouldn't wait. Lumang pag-iisip na ang let's wait and see. Hintayin natin magsasalita din yan. Kawawa yung bata. So, let me just copy that and paano ko pala ito i-comment? Gamit ko yung personal account ko. Lol. Nahihiya ako. Sige na nga. Basta ako to. Ako tong magko-comment dito. Paano ba mag-chat? Oh my gosh, nakakahiya ako. Okay, sa totoo lang, hindi ko pala alam kung saan yung chat box. Paano ako makakalagay ng sarili kong message? Okay, I'm sorry. Hanapin nyo na lang sa Instagram ko. It's, ang makikita nyong words is, should I wait and see? And there's a big answer, no. So if you can find that post, sa Instagram ko, you can check it out and you can share it to yung did you say kapatid mo? Yung may anak. So, I wish you luck, Gail. Nagigets ko kung yung concern mo and you're a good tita for getting involved. But, ultimately, hindi natin mapipilit ang parents. The parents will always have the final say, anak nila yan. Kesyo, sa tingin nating mali yung ginagawa nila, sila pa rin ang magulang. So, all we can do is advise and give them the best information that we can. Pero, walang nagagawa ang sapilitan. If the parents are not open to it, hindi rin sila magiging open to commit to all the techniques and all the changes in the lifestyle that they have to make para mas mabuti dun sa bata. But kung nandyan ka sa same house, you can look through all the language stimulation techniques na nandito sa channel ko and you can try doing them sa pamangkin mo. Kayo na po mismo diretso ang mag-try ng language stimulation techniques dun sa bata. But thank you for being a concerned family member. Maria Cecilia, kapag may gusto siyang sasabihin or kukuha ng attention, nag-uuntog po siya. Nanood po ako ng mga videos niyo sa YouTube at magbabakasakali po sana na baka mabigyan niyo ako ng advice. So I don't know, Maria Cecilia, kung alin na yung napanood niyo, but I do have a video on managing undesirable behaviors. So, when I say undesirable behaviors is kapag nga yan meron ng aspetong nakakasakit ng sarili or ng iba. So, episode 23 po yan. I don't know if you've watched that. But ang advice ko dyan is usually kapag nag-uuntog na siya, and that's an unusual way to express kapag may gusto ka, diba? But usually, so, just from my experience, ang mga possible na ibig sabihin nito is may gusto silang sabihin, hindi niya masabi, so nafo-frustrate siya, at kapag nafo-frustrate siya, yun ang nagkakalma sa kanya. So, I also have a concern about a repetitive behavior because hindi natural yung na-frustrate ka lang ay mag-uuntog ka na. So, this might actually be a repetitive behavior. So, I want you to look at the episode called Stimming, episode 59. And this talks about sensory integration issues na bakit kaya mag-uumpog yung bata. It's possible na meron siyang hinahanap na stimulation, a pressure na gusto niyang maramdaman para makalma siya. But dahil it could lead to injury, hindi siya, dahil possibly injurious yung behavior, syempre kailangan nating mapalitan to something more productive. Ano pang maaari niyang gawin imbis na maguntog ng ulo. So, the same advice that I gave yung kanina about presenting opportunities and obstacles, kapag nakikita niyo na at alam niyo na kung anong gusto niyang kunin, huwag niyo nang hintayin na mag-umpog siya, ilabas niyo na, tas bigyan niyo siya ng ways to possibly say or communicate kung ano yun. So, sabi mo, ito ba yung gusto mo? Yung lip balm? Ito, gusto, give ko sa'yo. Sabi mo, give okay. Kapag nasabi na niya any of those, nag-approximate siya ng sound, ibigay niyo na agad para hindi na siya ma-frustrate. But we just want to teach the expectation. We want the child to understand na hindi ko ibibigay kapag nag-umpog ka, because if we allow na dumating sa pag-uumpog tas sa kanyo ibibigay yung item, baka ma-misunderstand niya na para pala makuha ko, kailangan mag-umpog ako. So that's the wrong message. So agapan nyo na nakikita nyo pa lang na meron siyang gustong i-communicate, bigyan nyo na siya agad ng cues to help the child communicate in other ways, whether with gestures or with sound approximations, etc. So I hope that helps. Hello, Arlene. Hi, I just want to ask, what is the difference po ng non-verbal sa non-conversant toddler? Thank you po. So, non-verbal means at kahit sounds, wala. There's no verbal output. Wala siyang meaningful. So, kahit na me for mommy, kahit na ba for baso, wala pa. Zero. Nasa ano pa lang siya. Kung merong sounds, pero non-meaningful pa, like agagagamagagamamama. So this is babbling. Ang tawag namin dito ay vocalizations pa lang. Pero hindi pa siya verbalizations kasi wala pa siyang karugtong na meaning of a concept. Kapag sinabi namang non-conversant, ay conversation na ito. Meaning, hindi lang siya nakakapag-express ng multiple ideas to respond to another person. That is a conversation. When I say, kamusta? Mabuti? San ka pupunta? Sa bahay? Anong kakainin mo? Cookie. So that is having a conversation. It doesn't mean hindi ibig sabihin kwento agad, but it is responding to an elicitation. Kapag may sinabi, sasagot siya. So that is non-conversant. So it's possible na nakakapag-initiate pa lang yung bata, siya mismo, makakapagsabi siya ng bomb, for example. Pero kapag tinanong mo, ano yan? Hindi niya masasagot na bomb. So, wala pa siya sa level na nakakasagot, nakaka-respond, or nakaka-converse. I hope that's clear. Maria says, Maria ulit. So, lalo na po ngayon, I gave birth to my second baby. Parang mas kailangan po namin maintindihan yung needs ng aking panganay. Thank you very much and God bless. Yes, good luck. Oh my gosh, kapag dalawa na ang baby, I know that's super hard, but I hope that the advice na I gave you, sana makatulong po sa inyo. And if you have any other follow-up questions, tanungin niyo lang po dyan. Basta po may time pa po tayo. Miss Gail. Hindi. Nasagot ko na pala yan. I skipped that. Desiree. Teacher Kaye, paano po ba maiiwasan ang paggamit ng CP sa bata? Depende kung gaano kaliit ang bata. From 0 to 4 years old, sige, gawin natin 0 to 3 years old, where hindi pa naman masyadong maabilidad yung mobility ng bata. Ibig sabihin ko dito, yung the way that they can get around. Kunyari, basta wala kayong cellphone na nakakalat, hindi niya makukuha. Kasi, ang bata, maliit pa, wala pa masyadong ibang capacity or skills, kapag hindi nyo sa kanila ibigay, wala sa kanila. Diba? I mean, it sounds simple, but so, what that implies is, dapat watch nyo rin yung sarili nyong lifestyle and habits with using cellphone or gadgets, or kayo ba ay tipong household na yung sa bahay nyo ay constantly naka-on yung TV? Kahit na wala namang nakatutok doon, basta naka-on yung TV. So that's one thing that you can want to try to change. Or basta makita yung nung bata na nakakalat yung cellphone, di syempre gusto niyang kunin. Kapag natuto na silang mag-unlock on their own, nako, patay na. Then they can get that. Meaning, you have to physically remove the item from their reach. So, have a time for your cell phones. Kapag kayo, syempre, 'di ba? Because kung may trabaho tayo at ibang mga kausap, syempre kailangan kasi natin yung cellphone natin. But after you use it, pwedeng ilagay niyo sa mataas na cabinet na alam niyo hindi makikita or maaabot ng bata. Eh di wala nang problema. The child just needs to readjust again kapag nasanay sila sa paggamit ng cellphone. I want you to remember na hindi punishment ang bawi ng cellphone sa mga bata. You are not punishing them, so don't feel bad kapag nagiiyak sila asking for the cellphone. It's because nasanay silang pinag-cellphone sila. But kung alam natin kasing nakakasama, 'di ba? We choose the better we go for the better choice, which is hindi sila pag sa cellphone. So I just want you to remember na marami kasing nagsasabi sa akin na parents na di kasi maiiwasan teacher wala silang ibang ginagawa. Maiiwasan po siya if mapalitan natin yung time na yon with other activities. And you don't even have to think elaborate. Bigyan nyo ng laruan. Tapos kahit sabihin natin na bore na siya dun sa laruan, I have a post about letting them be bored because okay ang boredom. Guys, kapag na-bored yung bata, it will encourage critical thinking. Wala na akong magawa. Ano kayang pwede kong gawin? Hindi yung bibigyan nyo lang sila ng cellphone at actually kapag binigyan nyo sila ng mga videos para panoorin, one way na lang. Wala na silang chance to be creative on their own. Nanonood na lang sila ng mga creativity ng ibang tao. So, screen time really watching is dead information. It's just one way. So, unless nagagamit nyo yung screen time for, kunyari, 3 or 4 years old na yung bata, at nakakausap nyo na sila tungkol sa mga napapanood, then that's okay when you're still communicating with a child and helping na nung pinapanood nila ay maging mas meaningful sa buhay nila. Pero at 3 years old, tas ang pinapanood, alphabet, bakit? Magbabasa na ba yung bata? Children, ito pa, a common myth is, turuan na agad yung mga batang magbasa. Ang pagbabasa ay around 4 or 5 years old pa. Hindi natin pipilitin yung mga batang magbasa at an earlier age. Ang main occupation, ang tanging dapat ginagawa ng mga bata sa pagkabata ay maglaro. So, let them play, let them explore. Kahit yung mga baby, mga 1-year-old, bigyan nyo lang ng karton, yung pinupunit-punit nila, marami silang natutunan sa pagpunit-punit. Ito palang papel, madaling punitin. Pero itong makapal na karton, mahirap pala itong punitin. And that's already learning. So, huwag kayong maghinayang na ang useless naman ang ginagawa, nagpupunit lang ng karton ng anak ko. Everything that they touch, lahat ng mga paglalaro nilang ganyan is an opportunity for learning. So I hope that you guys remember that. Letting them explore with their senses, touching, feeling, jumping, everything is much better than paupuin nyo through an alphabet video. I promise. I hope you believe me. Hannah, turning 18 months na po si baby this January 10. Advanced happy birthday, baby! Parang Chinese pa rin po siya magsalita. Yung hindi po maintindihan pero sobrang daldal. Nakakabanggit na po siya ng papa, namnam, mama naman kapag umiiyak. So, Hannah, if you were here at the start of the stream, at 18 months, yung expected milestones ng isang bata is around 10, at least 10 spoken words. And when I say words, hindi kailangan klarong-klaro ha. So like I said, ba for baso, basta sure kayo na every time makakita siya ng baso, ba ang sinasabi niya, word na yon. So kapag meron na siya at 18 months, dapat at least 10 words na ang mga nasasabi niya and at most 50 words. For those pala, so just singit ko lang, for those who want to check kung okay, kung nasa milestones pa yung anak nila, I have tips on counting kung ilan talaga ang words na nasasabi na ng bata. So, what episode is that? Episode 35, entitled, What's a Word? Will help you to give your child justice. Yung parang hindi daya sa bata na word na pala yun pero hindi nyo kinonsider na word kasi hindi klaro. So, episode 35 will show you how to properly count yung mga words and word approximations ng anak nyo to see if they're performing appropriate dun sa kanilang edad. So, Hannah Faith, Nung sinabi mong parang Chinese siya, magsalita, madaldal pero hindi maintindihan, this is what we call jargon. I also have a video on jargon. That's episode 35. So magkasunod pala yung ginawa ko na episodes. Yung pag-count ng words for your milestone check and episode 34 for jargon. At 18 months, normal pa po yung jargon. Because that is them, parang naririnig nila kung paano kayo nagsasalita. Siguro kung paano kayo nagkukwentuhan sa bahay. So, nakukopya niya yung adult, ang tawag namin dito ay adult intonation patterns. Nung, kasi ganyan tayo magsalita at ang interpretation nila sa pagsasalita natin ganito. Pero dahil 18 months pa lang sila at maliit pa yung vocabulary nila, like I said, 10 to 50 words pa lang, posibleng yung gusto nilang sabihin, hindi pa nila alam yung word equivalent for nung gusto nilang sabihin. So, sa ibang parte ng sinasabi nila, nag-iimbento muna sila ng salita. And that is what we call jargon. So, ang jargon usually by 3 years old, dapat pawala na completely yung jargon. Pero like you said, 18 months pa lang si baby, nagpa-practice pa lang yan. So, that's actually a good sign na malapit nang mag-speak in phrases or to combine words si baby. So, isama nyo na po, napanoorin nyo po yung episode 30 on extension and expansion, kung paano niya mas magawang tamang phrases, tamang pagkakabuo ng mga ng word combinations yung bata. So, pero dahil na-mention mo rin na papa, nam, mama, ang nasasabi pa lang, I don't know kung hindi mo lang kinumpleto lahat nung nasasabi na niya, but kung kulang pa yung vocabulary niya for 10 words that we're trying, na usually yun nga by 18 months, dapat merong at least 10 words. Try niyo rin po yung episode 4 on dubbing para po laging may ma-pick up na bagong salita yung bata. I hope that helps. We stopped screen time for a month already. Good job. I hope that you see some changes and some improvement. Jennifer, Teacher Kaye, yung echolalia ba normal lang din sa batang may language delay? There is, depende po sa dalas at sa kailan nangyayari yung echolalia at ano yung na-echolalia niya. I have an episode on echolalia, that's episode 33. Sa mga hindi pa alam dito what echolalia is, ang echolalia ay ang pag-ulit ng mga naririnig niyang salita na either sa napanood, sa kumausap sa kanya, or minsan sarili niyang, kunyari may nasabi siya, ma, tapos later on, dahil nasabi niya yung ma, inuulit niya, ma. So, you need to pay attention kung kailan nangyayari yung echolalia niya, anong sinasabi niya, at kung gaano kadalas niya to ginagawa. So, like I said, there's a full episode on episode 33, but just to give you a short answer now, kung napapansin mo na, kunyari, ang echolalia niya is kapag tinanong mo, what's this? Tapos sabi niya, what's this? Pero sasagot din siya after. So, inulit niya yung what's this, pero sasabihin niyang nail cutter. So, it could be na yung pag-ulit niya in that sense is processing time pa lang. Parang tinatry niyang, inulit niya dahil yung pag-ulit ay natutulungan siyang mas maintindihan kung anong tinanong sa kanya. So, that helps the child's processing. Pero kapag yung echolalia ay nanggagaling na sa pinapanood at grabing madalas, paulit-ulit. For example, wala nang ginawa kundi kantahin yung ABC dun sa favorite niyang nursery rhyme, for example. Hindi na po yun natural, hindi na po siya typical behavior. Ibig sabihin po nun, baka hyperstimulated yung bata. And kung hindi naman galing sa pinapanood, kunyari, lahat talaga, kada sabihin mo sa kanya, what's this? What's this? This is a cookie. This is a cookie. Medyo it sends a message na the child knows that pagka tinanong siya, kailangan niyang sumagot, pero wala siyang pangsagot. So, that already shows na nahihirapan yung bata, and that's why we need to help. So, yun. I hope that answers your question. There are other tips on kung paano nyo po to turn yung echolalia niya into more meaningful verbalizations. For example, yung example na sinabi ko, what's this? What's this? Sasabi niya, it's a cookie. It's a cookie. So, sabihin mo na lang yung sagot para yun yung dapat niya sagutin. So, kapag sinabi kong, it's a cookie, naulit niya, it's a cookie. Ulitin mo ngayon yung question, what's this? It's a cookie. It's a cookie. So, parang natututunan niya na, mas appropriate pala yung isa kong phrase na inulit. So, some of those examples, you can see more on episode 33. I hope that answers your question. Ruwana, hello po, 3 years old na po yung baby ko and hindi pa din siya nakikipag-usap or nagsasalita man, hindi pa din siya maintindihan. Pero when I ask about animals, colors, and letters, he knows naman po. Hi, Rowena. I don't know if you were here kanina, but you can rewind a bit. Kasi I answered the same question dun sa kanina nagsabi na yung anak niya nakakapag-recite ng nursery rhymes, alphabet, numbers, pero hindi nakakapag-communicate. So, I want to tell you that this is a sign of screen addiction po. And so I advise you to go on a screen detox for at least 2 weeks and try some of the episodes din na sinabi ko kasi 3 years old na. Dapat around 250 to 1,000 na yung naiintindihan at nakakasabi na ng around 200 words yung bata. So, so hindi po typical ito and nakikita nating may difficulty yung bata. So, we need to try to remove screen time first and language stimulation techniques. So, the ones na na-recommend ko na kanina were episodes 8 and 8.1 about using opportunities and obstacles, dubbing episode 4, and asking questions, WH questions. And guys, in case may mga bago dito, bago makapagsalita yung bata, typically, bago sila makapagsalita, dapat na iintindihan muna nila. Nauuna po yung development very slightly ng receptive language bago ang kanilang, merong very, very slight advantage si receptive. Kasi bago natin masabi ang isang salita meaningfully, kailangan na iintindihan natin yung gamit nito. So kapag wala pa pong words ng anak ninyo, don't expect na makipagsalita sila agad. Work on their receptive language. So how do we do this? Activities na makikita natin kung naiintindihan tayo ng bata, like following commands. Ano ba yung episode ko on following commands? Following commands, episode 41. Or try activities like sorting and matching. Anong episode yun? Episode 55. Or do a lot of action songs, that's episode 12. Or identifying objects, that's episode 17. Answering, reading to your children. Oh my gosh, reading books, guys. Sobrang underrated niya. Pero ang dami-dami niyo talagang matuturo sa bata kapag natuto kayo to read books in a fun and educational way. So the episode 10 is all the tips that you could need for reading to your child para marami silang natututunan just from one book and just from one activity. And sa mga magulang dyan ng mga baby, alam nyo naman, di ba, na kapag nagustuhan ng bata yung pictures ng isang book, pagka natapos nyo, uulitin nyo ulit. So, you don't even have to have a lot of activities and a lot of books. Basta engaged yung bata dun sa libro. Pwede nyo ulitin lang yung ginagawa nyo doon. So, I encourage you to play a lot and also read to your children a lot. So, Rowena, yes. So, yeah, just to summarize yung mga sinabi ko na sa inyo, please try to go on screen detox, especially since you also added na na-expose siya sa gadgets since 8 months old. So, ang regulation talaga ng WHO, World Health Organization, is that children should have no screen time at all from 0 to 2 years old. Zero. Wala silang mapupulot na meaningful or anything that helps them develop properly from screen. So talagang laro, 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 laro lang talagang kailangan ng bata, especially from 0 to 2 years old. Cecil, you're welcome. Sige, watch mo ulit yung episode 37 and 39. Dawn, ayan na ang question ni Dawn. Hi, Teacher Kaye, yung anak ko 24 months old na siya, pero 2 words pa lang ang kaya niyang sabihin, like wow and tatay. He can communicate through hands and follow commands pag nakuha namin ang attention niya. Sobrang dali din niya maging aggressive kapag di niya nagagawa kung ano yung gusto niya. Okay. Alright, so Don, for you, I would like to recommend yung, because he can communicate with his hands, I want you to try my episode on baby sign language. That is episode 62. Hindi ko, alam ko kasing subscriber ka sa akin so I don't know if you've watched that, pero don't underestimate yung use of gestures niya at 2 years old. So, okay, I want to confirm na yes, delayed siya kung wow at tatay pa lang ang nasasabi niya. But so, because you said na nakaka-communicate with hands and follow commands, so medyo meron siyang konting receptive language, we can use baby sign language para kung dun siya nadadalian, every time gagawin niya yung sign, lagyan mo ng word. Sakaling mas ma-associate niya yung naggagawa niya with the hands to sign something and the word, mas matandaan niya. And eventually, the hope is mas madali niyang masasabi at magagamit yung words. But you also mentioned na kapag nakuha namin yung attention niya. So I am assuming na nahihirapan ko yung kunin yung attention niya. And also when may na-mention ka about nagiging aggressive siya, that's normal for 2-year-olds kasi ang mga baby, ang mga toddlers, hindi pa talaga sila hindi pa naman nila alam yung tama at mali. And kapag frustrated sila, the only things they know how to do are grabbing, crying, stomping. But this is a good opportunity to show better behaviors. Na kapag ginawa nila itong undesirable behaviors na to, so I already recommended this kanina, episode 23 on managing undesirable behaviors. Kapag nangyari ito, you should teach them a way to replace that. But always kapag naggaganon sila na behavior, i-acknowledge nyo na, nakikita ko nagagalit ka, no? Nakakainis, no? Hindi mo magawa. Pero paano kaya, ano bang gusto mong gawin? So, talk them through. Huwag nyong patulan. Kapag pinatulan natin ang galit din tayo, yun ang mapipick up nila na, si mami nga galit din di okay lang pala itong ginagawa ko. So, lagi nyong i-acknowledge na na-frustrate sila and then try to find kung anong gusto niyang gawin and then direct cueing na para ma-accomplish niya ng gusto niyang magawa. So, for example, meron siyang bote ng tubig, tapos nainis siya, hindi niya mabuksan kasi possibly hindi pa strong enough yung kamay niya. So, hirap siya. Nakita niya na frustrate na siya, so nagagalit na siya. So, that's a good opportunity to say, nakakainis, no? Tigas, no? Ang higpit ng pagkasara, help ka ni mama. So, this is what we call hand-over-hand facilitation. Kunin mo yung kamay niya para kunuhari. Siya yung nagbubukas. Pero, it gives them a feeling of, I can control. Pero, tinutulungan ako ni mama. So, buksan nyo kung, di ba, mga kunyari, bote. Once mapihit mo naman yung pinakamatigas na part, dire-diretso na yan. So, pihitin nyo lang yung condense. Ayan na. Tapos, pa-open mo na sa kanya. Tapos, makikita niya na, okay, hihingi lang pala ako ng konting tulong kay mama at magagawa ko na siya. So, they get those kinds of subtle redirection of behaviors. Wait lang inom lang ako, guys. Alright, I hope that helps you, Dawn. But yeah, other videos that I want to recommend to you are, yun pa rin, dubbing. Yun talaga, favorite ko talaga yun, episode 4. And then, yeah, work on the receptive language, like I said dun sa previous kong kausap. So, good yung following commands. Keep working on that, pero keep adding new words. Every day, dapat may bago kang action na may tuturo. So, kunyari, alam na niya yung sit, come here, throw mo yan, jump. O everyday magdagdag ka. Like, anak, ano naman, walisin natin yung yung kalat doon. Tapos kunyari, papahawakin mo siya ng broom, tapos papakita mo sa kanya yung walis. So every day may bago tayong concept na ituturo. And a new concept, kapag bigyan mo ng salita, that's a new word label na matututunan nila. So, yes, I hope that helps you, Don. Finally, nakausap kita. Alam ko na kung anong concerns mo. Mario. Ay, sorry, I skipped one. Chris Ann, my 2-year and 7-months-old baby girl, medyo delay na po siya sa speech niya. Ang tahimik niyang bata, ang alam niyang salita, mama at papa, ano po kaya ang dapat namin gawin? So first is, meron po bang screen time? Kung merong screen time, stop po muna. Kung wala namang screen time, at mama at papa at aw pa lang ang nasasabi. So, 3 words and 2 years and 7 months. So, approaching 3 years old na po siya where dapat ang bata meron around 200 words na nasasabi. So, actually, kapag 3 years old na po talaga, ang pinaka ko is humingi na rin talaga tayo ng tulong sa speech therapist because kapag na-assess po kayo ng speech therapist, mas makikita namin kung ano yung possible underlying concerns para mas mabilis na matulungan yung bata. Kasi kung by 3 years old, hindi pa rin siya natuto ng kusa mag-isa, aside from the things that we can do at home, baka may kailangan na talagang specifically i-target dun sa bata kung anong nagkakos ng kanyang learning delay. So, but the things that you can do at home are, again, yung kanina ko pa sinasabi, episode 4, dubbing, lagging, lahat ng ginagawa ng bata, lahat kailangan bigyan nyo ng corresponding na salita para naiintindihan niya. Episodes 8 and 8.1 also about obstacles and opportunities na wag agad binibigay yung mga gamit. Make them work for it a little bit by withholding desired objects tapos expecting any sort of output sound man yan or a whole word kapag nakakasabi na naman na ng whole word. So, kasi dahil nakakasabi na siya ng mama, papa, alam mong kaya na niya ng 2-syllable sounds eh. So, other sounds na dapat, baka kaya na nilang masabi ay meme. Dapat kaya na rin nila yon for milk, for example. So, think of, maglista po kayo ng target words ng araw-araw, kinakain, pinaglalaruan, nakikita, ginagawa ng bata. At mag-start kayo with teaching 10 new words a week. So, for example, at simulan nyo dun sa mga sounds na nagagawa na niya. So, dahil nga, ang nasasabi niya ay mama, papa, magsimula kayo sa mga M words. Kaya sinabi ko, pwede mo ring patry ng sabihin ng meme, or pop. Kunyari, maglaro kayo ng bubbles. Kung masabi niya ang pop. Yan, nakakadagdag din yung mga words yan. Mga animals and animal sounds. Me for kambing, diba? Or moo for cow. So, yung mga teaching animal sounds and yung mga corresponding pictures of the names of the animals, ang dami na agad words niyan because the sounds themselves, ang pagsabi ng moo, aw, meow, considered words din yan. So, that's all part of mga pwede nyong bilangin para sa milestones ng anak ninyo. I hope that helps, Chris Ann. Okay, Mario, good afternoon. Paano po pagka kinausap mo yung toddler, inuulit niya lang po yung mga sinasabi namin ng words, 3 years old. Mario, I hope you were listening here kanina. That's what we call echolalia. So, yung episode ko on echolalia, episode 33, meron po akong tips doon. So, one of the tips ay giving the answer. So, kunyari, may tinanong ka nga sa kanya. For example, anong ginagawa mo? Anong ginagawa mo? Naglalaro si baby. Anong ginagawa mo? Naglalaro. So, ang hope mo is the last thing na sinabi mo, naglalaro. Yun naman yung uulitin niya. So, that's just one of the techniques that you can try. But I also want you to watch yung episode po na on echolalia kasi gusto nating malaman if anong klase yung echolalia na ginagawa ng bata and kung rehearsal pa ba siya kasi 3 years old na siya eh, or medyo sign siya of another underlying problem like an auditory processing problem, etc. Rosie YN, you're very welcome. I really appreciate it. Happy blessed New Year. Happy New Year also. Lala 30, hello Teacher Kaye, my son is 28 months. Alam niya po ang alphabet, colors, numbers. Pag tinatanong ko siya, tinuturo niya lang, pero hindi niya sinasabi. May tips po ba kayo para bigkasin niya? Yes. Kapag tinuturo niya, give the word. So for example, tinuturo niya, ito, gusto daw niyang kunin yan. Sheep. Sheep. Give sheep. Tas kahit na ano doon, sabi mo, gusto mo? Gusto mo? O sabihin mo, give or sheep. So, like I said kanina, any approximation para lang maintindihan niya na gusto kong magsalita ka. Gusto kong sabihin mo yung word at hindi mo lang ituturo. So, I think for you, kapag nagtuturo yung bata or yung mga batang hinihila ka tapos titingnan yung gusto niya pero walang sinasabi, try episodes 8 and 8.1. But after you've tried this, kasi this is also a symptom of meron talaga silang problem with maybe using their mouth or yung muscles ng kanilang oral mechanism. So, tingnan nyo rin po if relevant sa inyo yung episode 45 on verbal dyspraxia or apraxia. Kasi baka hindi niya masabi yung word na gusto niya kahit alam niya kung ano yon. So, I want you to try and check that out. You're welcome, Bijoy! Angelica Ranies says, hello po yung baby ko, 3 years old. May mga words na nasasabi, mostly ay English po, pero in terms of communication ay hindi pa din po. So, bakit po English? English po ba kayo magsalita sa bahay? So, kung hindi po kayo English at napupulot niya yung English sa mga pinapanood niya, ibig sabihin po nito, this is a very telling sign na nasusobrahan po siya ng kakanood. And hindi po functional na nag-i-English siya tapos hindi naman nag-i-English sa bahay kasi hindi niya kayo maiintindihan. At the same time, hindi yun yung pamamaraan yung makipag-usap sa bahay, hindi siya magagamit sa pang-araw-araw. So again, if natututo ng English dahil sa videos, kailangan na po mag-screen detox, and that means totally no screens for kahit magsimula po muna kayo ng 2 weeks. And usually, yung mga sumusunod naman dito at nakakita ng improvements, hindi na talaga bumabalik sa screen time. So, yeah, try that first. And kung hindi naman sa screens galing yung pag-i-English, sinong kausap ng bata? Bakit? Nakakapagtaka because they will only learn something that they hear. And kung walang ibang nagsasalita ng English at hindi niya napapanood, yun ang kailangan niyo pong hanapin kung saan niya napupulot yung English. And yes, same ako teka, may kadugtong pa. Then napapansin ko po na napapadalas yung tantrums pag po nagagalit siya or di nasusunod, gusto parang frustrated, tas lagi pong nagsiscream. Ano po kaya ang dapat kong gawin? So, again, this is one of the classic signs of screen addiction is kapag umiikli na ang pasensya ng bata at madalas mag-tantrums, nagiging mas madalas nagkaka-meltdown. So, again, you can see the post I made on my Instagram na check for these signs of screen addiction, and they're all there. I can read the signs to you here, but you can also look for the post, and it's when they look for the gadget as soon as they wake up and get angry when it's not given. You notice changes in mood and behavior, becoming easily irritated or starting to show violent tendencies. Number 3, the child cries or has a meltdown once the video is turned off. Number 4, excessive and inappropriate repetition of memorized words or phrases. Ito po yung mga nagre-recite ng nursery rhymes, alphabet, numbers, shapes, colors na hindi naman nagagamit sa pag-communicate, di ba? Kasi ano ba naman, alam nga nila lahat yung shape, pero how often would they say, Mama, I want square? Di ba? Hindi siya ganun ka-useful. And they stop responding to their name or communicating completely. So, yan po ang ating signs of screen addiction. So, yes, my advice is to go on a screen detox. Oops. Okay. Aliyah, or is it Alaya? My son has severe autism level 3, is not yet talking po, 5 years old na po. Parang hindi siya masyado nag-i-improve sa OT. Any recommendations po para makapagsalita na hindi na. Hindi pa po siya marunong maligo. 5 years old pa po, hindi pa po marunong maligo mag-isa, nakaka-stress po. Ni ABC, di pa siya marunong. Pang 2 years old lang po ang brain development niya. Okay, so Aliyah, because po meron siyang autism, then talagang ang unang-unang kailangan po nating i-focus on ay yung sensory issues po muna niya. Meron po ba siyang sensory issues? Because maaaring kailangan niyo munang tugunan yung sensory issues bago niya mas matanggap yung information para matuto siya. Because kapag there's something going on pala in their mind, or may mga very uncomfortable pala sila, hindi po talaga sila makaka-receive ng information or ng any learning. So, yes, I want you to pay more closer attention to yung mga pangangailangan muna niya for his, son nga ba? Oo, for his sensory integration problems. And dun po sa hindi siya masyadong nag-i-improve sa OT, mabagal po talaga, therapy really depends on nung kakayahan din ng bata. So, it could be that sometimes kasi something needs to be repeated over and over bago niya makuha, and then all of a sudden bigla na lang gets na niya one day. So it really takes patience to have therapy. Yes, and yung hindi pa po siya marunong maligo mag-isa, sobrang high skill pa po yan. So, kaya, meron po ba yung OT nyo po ba ay nag-home visit? Because it might be important na makuha ng OT yung home behaviors ninyo. You can ask the OT if open kayo na kahit once home visit para makita niya how things are working at home, at mabigyan kayo ng better advice kung paano matutugunan yung mga ganong needs ninyo for the child. And then, yes, and kung nasabi na po sa inyo na pang 2 years old ang skill level ng kanyang brain, or yung development niya, then ganun po talaga. It's like thinking, hindi pa naman natin i-expect ang isang 2-year-old na makapagligo on their own. So we have to operate on the skill level of the child, na kahit 5 years old na siya, we need to understand na kung ang operating skill level niya ay 2 years old, hindi fair na i-expect nating makakaligo siya on his own. And yes, hindi pa po i-expect na mag-ABC ang bata kung 2 years old pa lang siya. Mas bigyan natin ng halaga yung mga functional everyday words niya, like paano siya makakahingi, anong mga pangalan ng mga kinakain niya, anong mga pangalan ng laruan niya, mga pangalan ng tao sa bahay. Yun po ang mas importanteng maituro muna natin sa kanya, at hindi yung ABC. So, like yung in-advise ko dun sa kanina is gumawa po muna kayo ng listahan of target words na gusto nyong maituro. Kahit na isang word per week, basta ipapractice nyo as in the techniques of episode 4 na yung dubbing, na yung list na yon, doon kayo kukuha ng laging inuulit-ulit in every conversation and every opportunity throughout the week. Yun at yun ang mga inuulit nyong words para mas marinig at mas malaman ng bata kung paano yun ginagamit. I hope that helps you, Aliyah. Jenny, 22 months old, si baby girl. Baby girl ba, pwedeng i-consider na speech delayed na? Depends po kung anong skills na pinapresent niya. Kaso, hindi ko alam kung may kadugtong po yung tinanong niyo, pero I need to know kung speech delayed. Before I can say na delayed siya, I need to know kung anong hindi niya nagagawa para sa kanyang edad. But yes, at any stage of development, maaari nating makita kung delayed ang isang bata. Kahit 6 months old pa lang yan, kapag hindi siya tumitingin sa kanyang magulang, kapag kunyari kinakausap siya tapos mailap yung eye contact, kasi usually kapag tiningnan mo yung baby, ikaw ang titingnan yan eh. So kung hindi pa nag-eye contact by 6 months old, that's already a problem. Kung hindi pa madalas ang babbling by 8 months, we can already see that that's a problem. So at any stage of development, maaari nating makita ang mga speech delays. Nova. Hi, Nova. When a lack-up, my questions are, gaano katagal po ba madagdagan or masundan ng words na alam na niya? Totoo bang may kinalaman ng genes sa pagiging speech delayed ng bata? Like yung dad niya, 3 years old na nang nagsalita. Yes, Wena, merong hereditary component ang speech delay. But like I told the person kanina, hindi dahil alam nating na-delay yung kamag-anak or whoever, ay maghihintay na tayo at sasayangin natin yung time na maaari pala nating tulungan yung bata na makapag-communicate at a more appropriate age dun sa kanyang expected sa edad niya. So, ano pa yung tanong mo? Sorry. Gaano katagal bago madagdagan or masundan ng words na alam niya? Kung gaano din natin kadalas siyang kalaruin at kausapin, ay may kinalaman sa bilis ng kanyang pag-acquire ng language. Yeah, I hope I answered your questions. Nagit, Eric, hi. Yung anak namin 6 years old na pero hirap pang magsalita. May mga words po siya na malinaw na nababanggit. May mga words din po siyang nahihirapan po siyang banggitin. Mismong pangalan po niya. May kadugtong ba to? Naputol, sir. Yes, but at 6 years old po, dapat po kasi klaro na talaga ang pananalita ng bata. Maaaring may mga mali silang grammar or mali yung pagka-dugtong-dugtong ng mga salitang sinasabi nila. Pero yung clarity, dapat po by 4 years old, klaro na halos lahat ng mga sounds na nagagawa ng bata. So, ang gusto ko pong i-ano sa inyo is tingnan nyo po yung aking episode on, not my episode. Kung pumunta po kayo sa website ko, that's onedaykaye.com, meron po dong speech development sound chart. Tignan nyo po kung yung mga words na hindi niya nababanggit ng tama ay may sounds na ang mastery ay mga around 6 years old pa. Baka naman lulusot pa because there are some sounds na mas late na ma-master in all word positions or in connected speech. For example nga, kapag sentences na nung sinasabi, nadadapa na yung pananalita nila. Also, check out my episode 36 on bulol. Kasi dito, pinakita ko kung paano mo malalaman if yung mga hindi ba klaro niyang nasasabi ay iilang tunog lang pala. For example, nahihirapan lang pala siya sa sound na L. Kunyari, so every time sabihin niya, wawawo ako. Ibig sabihin pa niya, laro. At every time may L sa salita, nagiging ganito yung tunog. So it's possible that it's only caused by 1 or 2 sounds pala na nahihirapan siya. So kailangan mong hanapin kung alin yon, and I have tips on episode 36 kung paano nyo yun mahahanap. At kapag nalaman nyo kung ano yung particular sounds na nahihirapan yung bata, mas matutulungan nyo siya kung paano nyo ituturo yon. Hannah Kaye, hi! My baby is 2 years old, has few words but mostly sounds lang ng first letter. That's sounds lang ng first letter. So do you mean for dog, nasasabi lang niya d, ganyan? For 2 years old, may mga ganito pang times na hindi pa ganito kaklaro ang pananalita ng bata, and you can check out my episodes 57 and 58 on phonological processes. Actually, kahit episode 57 lang muna kasi ginawa ko naman sequentially. So, may mga, because growing up, 'di ba, hindi mo naman alam agad. So, even ang clarity of speech ay may sequence na sinusunod. So, it's possible na nagre-rehearse pa lang yung anak nyo at 2 years old, and eventually matututunan niya to say the whole word kasi mas alam na niya. Usually, nagdi-disappear halos lahat ng mga ito by 3 and 3.5 years old. So at 2 years old, because hindi ka nagbigay ng specific example, you might want to check out that episode. Like I said, episode 57, makikita mo kung parang ganito ba yung anak nyo, and if so, appropriate pa ba for 2 years old. May mga binigay ako dong ages kung hanggang saan appropriate. I hope that helps you. My 2 years old, hi Bijoy, nagkukwento na pero minsan putol. We sometimes ask her pag detail para i-explain or ikwento kung ano ang nangyari. When we ask him a question, in-echo niya, then sasagutin niya yung question. Ganun po ba talaga? So 2 years old, wow, nagkukwento na. And that's so interesting. Pero oo, may mga 2 years old talaga dahil nakaka-combine na sila ng salita. So okay lang yung medyo putol kasi hindi pa talaga ganun ka-fluid ang pananalita ng 2 years old. So, dahil nga nagsa-start pa lang sila mag-combine ng words, usually ang mga pagkukwento nila, ganito pa lang ang tunog. Mama, sakit! Dapa ako! Ganyan talaga sila magkwento. So, hindi pa talaga buo. So, if that's what you mean by putol-putol, yes, okay lang yun for 2 years old. And then you said na you ask the detail para explain or ikwento niya. So, mag-a-ask kayo ng question. So, kunyari sabi mo, tapos anong nangyari? Tapos sabi niya, tapos anong nangyari? Minsan that means na tinatry niya i-process yung tinanong mo sa kanya because depende rin sa hirap ng question na tinanong mo. Baka iniisip niya, ano pong tinatanong sa akin? So, kapag ganun yung nangyayari, that's echolalia. You may want to check out that episode. I think it's episode 33. Kung anong gagawin mo kapag inulit niya yung sinasabi mo. But yes, may mga times at 2 years old na nangyayari pa yon. Kapag inulit niya, ibigay mo na lang yung sagot. Para matutunan niya na mas appropriate na ganito yung sagot ng tinatanong, or mag-ask, i-revise mo yung question mo para mas madali. Tingnan natin kung mas maiintindihan niya kung dalian niyo yung tanong. Hope that answers your question. Hi Mirabel, hi Teacher Kaye, my baby's 3 years old, 9 months. Ang dami na po niyang alam, like alphabet, numbers, shapes, colors. Kaya niya na pong mag-spell pero hindi pa din nakakapagkwentuhan sa akin. So, like all the explanations kanina, I hope that you guys were here listening. So, hindi ko na po ito uulitin. You can just rewind to that part of the live stream where exactly, see, you have the same concerns. Alphabet, numbers, shapes, colors. These are signs of echolalia or TV talk because of screen addiction. So, my number one thing for you to try is I hope you can go on screen detox po muna. And then try some of the language stimulation techniques dito sa channel ko, like episode 4, dubbing, etc. I hope that answers your question. Happy New Year, Rev Isa! Josephine, hi Teacher Kaye, paano po pag hindi nagre-respond sa name ng 2 years old? How do we teach him? I have an episode 27 on responding to name or improving eye contact. So, like I said kanina, hindi ko na rin masyadong uulitin lahat because we have already talked about this. Make sure naririnig ka. Make sure alam niya yung name niya. And, reducing screen time kapag may screen exposure yung bata because that could be a factor kung bakit hindi nagre-respond sa name. Aliyah, any tips for handling a 5 years old autism if nagwala sa mall? Super lakas po niya, nananakit na minsan po. Yung ano ko rin po, episode 23 on managing undesirable behaviors. So usually kapag nagwala sa mall, that means that something stimulated the child and hindi tama nung pagka-receive ng katawan niya. So I talked about this in episode 59 called stimming. That means you remove them from that setting. Alamin mo kung ano doon sa mall ang nakapag-trigger sa kanya. Maliwanag ba? May masyado bang maingay? Masyado bang maraming tao? Because children nga with autism do not receive information, and yung mga things na we see, they do not see the same way. The things that we understand in one way, iba rin ang pagkaka-receive nila. So we want to figure out kung ano yung nakakapag-trigger sa kanila that makes them uncomfortable. Meltdowns are a sign of discomfort. Hindi nila yan ginagawa in purpose or to piss anyone off or whatever. Hindi rin sila nananadya. They are really uncomfortable. And I'm talking about children with autism, ha. So, after understanding yung sensory integration issues ng bata, which nga, like I said, I talk about in episode 59, try nyo po yung episode 23 on managing undesirable behaviors. Kapag nananakit, usually, number one, tanggalin nyo na po from the stressful situation. Firm grip po on the hands or kung ano man yung ginagamit panakit. Kung nang-headbutt, make sure na malayo po ang ulo ninyo dun sa bata. So, safety first, lagi. And then, when I talk about firm grip, kung kunyari, nanggaganyan, nangungurot, or whatever, make sure you hold the child's hand firmly. Pero dahil 5 years old na, and alam kong, ang mga children with autism can be very strong kasi wala nga silang regulation, hindi nila nakokontrol yung sarili nilang strength, etc. You may have to have another person who will try to restrain the child for you para hindi siya makasakit at hindi niya masaktan ang sarili niya. The important part is you remove them from the stressful situation. Maria Fatima, hello, ano po masuggest yung home activities para ma-improve naman ang speech ng anak ko while waiting po sa OT niya? Thank you. Sobrang dami sa channel ko. I don't know what the skill set of your child is, pero if you're working on receptive language muna, as in kung anong mga naiintindihan habang hindi pa siya nakakasalita, you can do following commands. That's episode 41. Singing action songs. Episode 12. Reading books. Episode 10. Object identification, episode 17. So those are some of my favorite to deal with receptive language muna. I hope that helps. Jenny Ragos, may kilala ba kayong therapist sa Ilocos Norte? Or developmental pediatrician? Hahanapan ko kayo, Jenny. So leave me a message or mag-comment ka dito. Nasa-save ba yung messages sa live stream? I'm not sure, but sige, maghahanap po ako ng therapist sa Ilocos Norte. I'm pretty sure meron. Halos lahat naman ng lupalop na ng Pilipinas meron na. Konting-konti na lang ang lugar na wala talaga. So I'll get back to you. Hindi ko lang po memorize kung sino ang nandoon, pero I'm sure meron po dyan. Leslie Ann, hello, Happy New Year. Thank you. Happy New Year also. Thank you for doing such a noble thing just by merely sharing your expertise. You're welcome. My son is 3 years old, nonverbal, and is in the spectrum. Still an absolute doll. Aww, I'm so glad to hear you are enjoying and loving your experience kahit ano pa man yan. Mommy ni Megan, Cabuyao, Laguna po, Teacher Kaye. Okay, Mommy ni Megan, I will look for someone in Cabuyao, Laguna also. I cannot guarantee na meron mismo sa Cabuyao, but I will look for a therapist sa Laguna po. Desiree Guarde Torres. Teka, actually, isulat ko nga yung mga tinatanong nyo. So, you have, Ilocos Norte and Laguna. Okay, hang on. Alright. Okay. Desiree, Teacher Kaye, paano po ba maiiwasan ng screen time kung ang rason po namin minsan para kumain siya ay screen time? Pihikan po kasi pagdating sa pagkain, ang panganay po namin kumakain ng madami pag may CP na pinapanood. Actually, kung bakit napapakain yan ng marami is because hindi na nila inaalam kung anong nangyayari other than dun sa pinapanood nila. Ibig sabihin nun, kahit anong isubo niya, kasi entertained ako. But, kung isipin natin kung anong nagagawa nung screen time dun sa brain niya, hindi magandang payoff, 'di ba? Na, gusto kong rumami yung kinakain niya. So, papanoorin ko siya. Pero, ang kapalit nun ay hindi siya makakapagsalita. So, 'di ba? Medyo malaking consequence 'yon. So, I really hope that you can try the screen detox na recommend ko na kanina because yes, the child will need to readjust. And for picky eating, now that's a completely different problem na po kapag picky eater, but make sure na you're just giving enough portion dun sa bata. A lot of the time nag-help kapag kapag nakita niya yung pagkain, is nakikita niyang manageable yung kakainin niya. Minsan kasi kapag napakadami ng pagkain, inisip niya, ubusin ko yan lahat, tapos na tataranta sila. Mas lalong hindi sila napapakain. So make sure that your portion is just right, appropriate lang para dun sa bata at sa nakakain ng bata. Huwag din nating asahan na, gusto ko kasi marami siyang kainin. Pero baka naman napapasobra na kapag nag-screen time pala. Also, you might want to cut the food into more bite-sized pieces. Minsan kasi ayaw nung ibang bata yung sensation of sila pa yung kakagat ng piece of, or siguro baka nahihirapan silang maghiwa or ng kanilang sariling kubyertos. But you know what? Madalas sa feeding techniques is kailangan din meron silang experience with their food. Usually, nag-help kapag nahahawakan nila yung sarili nilang pagkain, sinusubukan nila yung sarili nilang paggamit ng kubyertos, lahat ito nakaka-contribute to better feeding patterns. Also, very important, kailangan kumakain ng pamilya sabay-sabay at lahat kumakain lang kapag time kumain. So, walang ibang distractions. So, kapag nakikita ng bata na, si Papa nga naka-cellphone kapag kumakain kami, edi okay lang na ako mag-cellphone. Ugaliin po natin, subukan po natin na kapag kumakain at mealtime, lahat kayo kakain sabay-sabay, walang ibang ginagawa. Para it sends a message na kapag nasa mesa, ito lang ang ginagawa. So, I know that it's going to be hard. Hindi ko po sinasabing madali itong ina-advise ko, pero based on my experience, kasi ang speech-language pathologist din po ay meron din po kaming feeding and swallowing component sa aming practice. And sa mga ibang natulungan ko na ay these are some of the tips na nakatulong. So, yun po. Isipin niyo lang po if okay sa inyo nung payoff na dumadami yung pagkain or hindi siya matutong magsalita or nade-delay yung kanyang speech and language development. So, yeah. First, try niyo po yung screen detox. And then, we'll see how everything goes after that. Balitaan niyo ho ako in 2 weeks once you've tried the detox muna. Wendy, what's the difference between speech delay and language delay? So, speech po is the verbal output of language. Language is just another way na isang terminolohiya para sabihin ang kabuuan ng communication. So, ang communication, meron yang understanding, receptive language, meron siyang expressive language, yan po ang ating speech. Meron din siyang written, meron siyang gestural, meron siyang body language. So, kapag sinabing speech delay, meron tayong nakikitang hindi makapag-communicate, hindi makapag-express yung bata ng kanyang mga gustong sabihin. At kapag language delay ay kabuuan, pati pag-intindi ay hirap yung bata. So, kapag sinabing language delay lang, ito ay usually meron tayong disorders with the oral mechanism. Like, hindi sila nakakapagsalita dahil hindi pala nila magalaw yung mga parte ng kanilang bibig. Or merong muscular weakness. Nakikita natin yan kapag minsan lopsided yung face structure ng bata. Maaari ding nahihirapan sila sa word retrieval or alam nila kung anong dog pero hindi nila mapulot sa lahat ng alam nilang salita kung alin yung gagamiting salita. So, sobrang dami pong causes of bakit hindi nakakapag-express ang bata in a spoken manner. I hope that answers your question. If you want to learn more about the kabuuan, Taglish tayo, of language, you can check out my first episode kung saan medyo pinag-usapan ko ang kabuuan ng language. So, episode 1, and if you want to know how a language delay is different from a language disorder naman, that's a different episode. That's episode 37. Aliyah, can I ask kung ibig sabihin pag speech and language impairment? So, speech and language impairment is another term for speech and language disorder. Ang ibig sabihin po ng disorder ay hindi na siya delay lamang. Yung delay niya ay naku-cause ng isang underlying problem na nagko-cause yung speech, yung expressive, at yung understood receptive language to not develop in a typical sequence or a typical pattern. So again, if you want to learn more about that, that's episode 37. Mabel, may chance po ba na maging normal ang communication ng batang may mixed receptive expressive language disorder? Yes, there's a chance. That's why there's therapy. Yan po mismo yung mga sinusubukan naming tulungan sa mga bata. Yung may mga mixed receptive and expressive. Ibig sabihin lang po nun ay nahihirapan siya sa kabuuan ng language. And kapag nag-therapy po, matutulungan natin siyang bigyan ng coping strategies or paano nga ba niya kailangan matutunan para magawa yung mga missing skills niya. Sheena Marie, hi Teacher Kaye, my son is 3 years old. Kapag po nag-ask ako ng question sa kanya, usually inuulit lang niya yung sinasabi ko. Di pa rin niya alam ang yes and no. So kapag inuulit at 3 years old, this is probably echolalia, and I want you to check out the episode on episode 33, echolalia. Pinag-usapan ko na rin kanina, so I won't repeat that. Pero yung hindi rin po niya alam ang yes and no, I have an episode on answering yes or no, and that is episode 13. I hope those episodes help you. Elizabeth, Teacher Kaye, what age usually nakakapagsalita ang bata? 1 year old or above? Usually, ang bata nagsa-start mag-make ng sounds at 6 months old. That's when they start cooing starts at 3 months. Yung mga vowels, cooing. Ang babbling nagsa-start at 6 months. Dumadami ito hanggang ng 1 year old. By 1 year old, ina-expect na makapagsabi na sila ng kanilang first word. Louis Marquez, Teacher Kaye, paano po if parang ayaw lang gamitin ng baby boy ko yung mga words? He's 20 months old. He can communicate through gestures. Louis, at 20 months old, at sinabi mo parang ayaw gamitin. Can you describe to me kung anong ginagawa niya? Bakit ang impression sa iyo is ayaw niya? Can you give me more examples? Because meron akong naiisip, but I want to learn more about kung ano mismo. Hi Leia, I haven't seen your name here in a long time. Happy New Year. Thanks for dropping by. Dale Esmeralda, this is my friend EJ. How do you explain to young kids na someone is on the spectrum without othering them? Is special acceptable to use? To young kids, you can for me, rather than giving it another label, dinedescribe ko na lang yung mga manifestations more. Like, this child thinks differently, or they do not feel things the same way. So, yung sa atin, light lang na touch, minsan sa kanila parang masakit na masakit. So, sa mga kids, mas naiintindihan nila kapag dinescribe mo yung actual things that happen rather than just saying they're special. Although I don't find anything wrong with using the word that they're special also, but diba, if you're explaining to kids, then kailangan mas literal tayo dun sa mga pag-explain sa kanila. I hope that helps. Joanne Beth, another familiar name. Paano ko po tuturuan ng 24 months old sa L and R na may mispronounce niya kasi ito. So 24 months old. Actually, you know what? 24 months, that's 2 years old. Parang ano pa talaga, hindi pa talaga nito mastered ang L and R. And you're right, I have to put that in my list. Hindi pa po ako gumagawa nga ng L and R episodes. I will do that. But wait, let me check my speech sound development chart. Let's see, letter L. So, ang L sinabi starts at around 2.5 years old pa lang, nag-a-appear. And if I were to explain kung bakit nasa around 2.5 years old pa lang ang L, is because compared to other sounds like pa, magdidikit lang yung lips, pa, na minsan nagagawa mo yan by accident eh. Kapag you start from closed, tapos mag-open yung mouth mo, magagawa mo yung sound na pa. So those are the earlier sounds. Now yung L and R, meron ng specific ginagawa yung dila natin to produce them, and that's why they are more complex, and that's why they appear later on pa in a child's speech. So yung L kasi needs the child to understand tongue elevation. Kailangan maakyat niya from resting. Ito ang resting ko. To the space at the back of the teeth. Yan. So, that's already a different skill. Dapat din alam na niya kung ano ang teeth. Dapat alam na niya kung ano ang upper and lower teeth. Dapat alam na niya kung anong back of the teeth. So, start with introducing oral awareness. And that's one of the good places to start. And if you want to learn more about how to cue your child, you can look at my episode on bulol. So, the entire episode may not be relevant to you kasi yung ibang examples doon hindi siguro relevant for L and R, but some cueing techniques on episode 36, bulol, may help you for now. But yes, I will make a separate video on producing the L and R sounds. Thanks for that, oh my gosh, nagsuslow down na yung brain ko. Thanks for that suggestion. Guys, we have 10 minutes left, by the way, kasi magto 2 hours na pala. So, I don't know how much more we have, but I just want to tell you guys in advance na kung hindi ko ito matapos lahat, guys, I'm sorry, but I will try to do na lang the Libreng Konsulta more often, okay? Pero kasi I can feel na napapagod na po yung voice ko, and I also have to take care of my voice. Wait lang. All right. Joyce Reyes Esmeralda, hi, my daughter just turned 3 years old a few weeks ago. She can construct sentences na, but the problem is she can't pronounce S. Instead, she produced it as F. It's like a lisp, no? Nafa-frustrate siya pag tinuturuan. Well, at 3 years old po kasi, let's see, 3 years old, ang S po, ngayon pa lang talaga mag-a-appear. So, let's not rush it. It's okay. You don't need to explicitly, parang hindi pa naman tayo, age appropriate pa, nagsisimula pa lang matutunan nung bata yung S. But you're right that you can just monitor it. So, wag nyo nang ipilit na S, baby S. Pero you can, kunyari, so every time na may sasabihin siyang, kunyari, snake, ganyan. Sabihin mo lang, oh, the snake. Snake. Ipapakita mo kung anong ginagawa mo, but after a few, wag mo nang pilitin. It might frustrate them more. It might make them more, cerebral about it. 3 years old pa lang yan. Tell me if at anong age nga ba yung age of mastery nito? Sometimes this is not mastered until 7.5 to 8 years old. Yeah. So, you can get, wait, is that S? Tama ba ang tinitingnan ko? Yeah. So, just keep monitoring and correcting, as in ibigay mo yung tamang target and show parts of your mouth. For example, I have an episode na nga pala on S, episode 47, and also my episode on lisp, episode 16, might be very helpful for you. And yes, kapag nakikita nyo na-frustrate na, that means we're pushing too much and hindi pa kailangan at this point. So, relax tayo. But you're doing a great job for noting kung ano pa yung mga hindi nasasabing tama ng baby nyo. Narisa, ang epileptic po ba may pag-asa pang makapagsalita? Age 3 na siya by January 22. Advanced happy birthday. So, ang epilepsy po kasi, I don't know if na-explain sa inyo and ng doctor ninyo or kung ano po yung extent of the understanding of epilepsy, but ang nangyayari po nito ay regular, consistent na seizures. So, and seizures, ang nangyayari dyan is maraming electrical firing sa brain. Kapag may natamaan yung electric firing na yon at that moment, in a language part of the brain, there are possibilities of regressions. But it's not naman that common. But you may want to, because it's related to the topic, you might want to check out po episode 60 on regression. But when you say may pag-asa po ba, laging may pag-asa sa kahit anong anything. That's why there's therapy, because we count on the fact na if we keep repeating things to a child and keep teaching them, may matututunan at matututunan yung mga bata. There is always hope na makakapagsalita. But of course, we have to take into consideration kasi wala akong details about how severe your child's epilepsy is. And kung meron bang muscular weakness na nakukause yung because muscular weaknesses po could also be a problem kung bakit hindi makapagsalita yung bata. But yes, laging may pag-asa. Mirasol, hi Teacher Kaye, my son is 2 years and 3 months old. He looks at us kapag tinatawag namin siya sa name niya. He also knows alphabets, shapes, animals, fruits. The problem is hindi pa po siya nagsasalita. So, kung alam niya, again, if alam niya yung mga alphabet, shapes, animals, fruits from watching videos, I suggest a screen detox because it might be affecting yung speech delay po nung bata. What else can I advise you? The same. After trying screen detox, I want you to try the language stimulation techniques that I've been suggesting kanina pa. So, yung mga episode 4 on dubbing, etc., giving them more opportunities and obstacles. Yan. So, you can replay this live stream. I think after this, I think it saves naman automatically. So, I hope you guys, if I did not repeat the answer to your question, you can just look back. That means natugunan ko na siya earlier in the stream. Cheryl, hi. Sa inyo po, ano po ang pagkaintindi nyo sa global developmental delay to consider ADHD? Ibig sabihin po niyan ay ang main diagnosis niya ay may global developmental delay. Meaning, yung bata ay delayed in 2 or more aspects of their development. So that could mean speech and language, and then also yung motor skills niya. Hindi ba nakakagapang? Hindi pa ba nakakaupo ng mag-isa? Hindi pa po ba nakakapaglakad at a certain age? So yan po ang GDD. You may find out more about GDD on episode 39. Kapag sinabing to consider ASD or autism spectrum disorder, ibig sabihin hindi nakapag-present yung child ng enough characteristics na hinahanap ng isang doktor, kasi checklist yan eh. We need to see, kailangan may ganitong number of itong symptoms. Tas meron pang isa pang list na dapat meron. It's so complicated to diagnose ASD. So kapag kulang yung hinahanap ng doktor, hindi niya nakita lahat yung classic signs of ASD, posibleng dahil masyado pang bata yung bata, or wala siya sa mood nung araw na yun, walang nakuha from the assessment dahil wala lang siyang ginawa talaga. So, hindi pa nakaka-decide yung doktor if autism spectrum nga. Pero, nakakakita siya ng maraming sintomas or characteristics of autism. If you want to know more about autism, they are episodes 9 and 9.1 sa videos ko. I hope that helps you. Mirasol, ang sinasabi niya kapag may gusto siyang ituro, we already scrapped screen time for about 2 months now. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. Usually, kapag may sinasabi, may I ask you to consider this episode? Can you watch episode 45 on verbal dyspraxia? Because this is one of the common things that stop children from verbalizing. Is meron pala silang problem. Yung brain nila has a problem sending signals to their the parts of their mouth para maka-form ng other sounds other than Actually, ang very severe of verbal apraxia is hindi man nila makagawa ng sounds. Minsan sila bumubuka lang yung bibig nila pero walang lumalabas yung sound. So, check that out po first at balitaan niyo po ako. Aidan P. Was diagnosed with trisomy 21. So, that's Down syndrome po, diba? Am I right? Wait lang. Trisomy 21. Tama ba ako? Or no, was that? Yeah, Down syndrome. Okay. At 2 and 7 months, ang nasasabi niya pa lang po minsan is mama, papa, and ate. Pero minsan minsan lang po talaga. Tongue-tied pa siya. Does it affect po ba nun? Okay, actually, bakit po at 2 years and 7, at 2 years and 7 months? Okay, sorry, mali ang pag-intindi ko. Can you check po my video on tongue-tied? Because hindi sa lahat ng times ay nakaka-affect yung tongue-tie sa pananalita, especially if it's very, very mild. But I want you to check episode 48 on tongue-tie. Makikita mo naman is kapag hindi talaga nakakagalaw at all, yung dila ng bata, then it could affect speech. But kung ganun din po kasi, what do you call this? Dapat usually may problema din sa pag-inom at sa pagkain. And if wala namang problema sa inom at sa pag-inom at sa pagkain, hindi naman nabibilaukan, then lower din yung chance na dapat hindi din siya nakakaapekto sa pananalita. But again, just please check out the video first of tongue tie episode 48. But also, children with Down syndrome po ay kasama po sa mga common characteristics nila is mas mataba po o mas malaki ng dila nila sa compared sa size of their oral cavity. So usually at rest, hindi po sa lahat ng bata pero usually ang may Down syndrome, at rest makalabas ng konti yung dila nila. Now, it could have an impact sa speech clarity, pero it should not affect yung pagtuto nila ng mga words at yung pag-try nila na magsabi ng words. So I hope that because meron na po tayong known diagnosis at disorder po yung bata, even if you try to do all the language stimulation techniques na nandito po sa aking channel, I advise you, if hindi pa po kayo nagte-therapy, dalhin nyo po for occupational and speech therapy yung baby ninyo para po talagang ma-maximize natin yung kakayanin niya. Because marami pong mga pwedeng gawin ang mga, kahit meron po siyang trisomy 21. Don de la Cruz, paano po teacher kung wala kaming access to therapy? Financially and location-wise sa Naga, wala po kasi dito sa province namin, Developmental Pedia. Sabi ng Pedia ni LO, may ADHD po si baby. 2 words. 2 words? 2 words lang kaya. At lagi niyang sinasabi, wow, tatay. 1 phrase pala yung wow, tatay. Sobrang hyper din po niya. Lagi po ako nag-research at nagtatry ng mga techniques, exercises at sa kanya, pero sobrang hirap makuha ng attention niya. Nakikita po namin ang gustong-gusto niya mag-communicate. He uses his hands, some syllables, pero hirap siya. Minsan takot po siya sa ibang bata, pero matatanda okay naman siya. Masiyahin at sweet at cling at masiyahin na bata. So nice to hear. But okay, sa Naga po, sure akong meron. Kasi meron po akong kaklase na dyan po nag-practice. But yes, if financially hirap po talaga, you may want to consider, if hindi nyo kaya yung regular therapy, pag-ipunan nyo po yung assessment para lang po alam natin kung anong mga kailangan nating i-target. Kasi sinabi naman po pala na may ADHD. Pero wait lang, yung pedia, pwede bang mag-diagnose ng ADHD yung pedia? Or suspected ADHD pa lang ba? But in any case, kung merong gantong impression yung doktor, then alam na natin na may disorder talaga yung bata. Kung kaya pong pag-ipunan kahit isang assessment lang with the speech therapist and then ask them na okay, meron po kaming financial concerns, hindi po kami makakapag-regular therapy, maaari po bang meron, and this is a separate fee. Siyempre, kung hihingi ka ng home program, so gagawan ka ng set of activities na pwede nyong gawin sa bahay na specific dun sa needs and goals ng anak ninyo, then you can try those activities. Sayang you are in Naga and hindi ko po alam kung meron po kayong mga charity clinics dyan, pero dito po kasi sa Manila, and this is for everyone. Actually, meron naman pong mga charity services ang Developmental Pedia sa Philippine Children's Hospital and sa National Children's Hospital dito sa Quezon City. Pareho silang nasa Quezon City. Isa sa May Diliman, isa sa E. Rodriguez Sr. Pero yun lang, dahil libre siya, mahaba po ang pila dun sa mga yun. So, mahaba po yung wait list. And like I always say, don't wait. So, kung nag-aantay pa po ng schedule for a developmental pedia, alamin, parang sana naiintindihan po ng lahat. So this is my message to everyone na hindi nyo po kailangang hintayin ang impression ng developmental pedia. Kailangan lang po natin yan if it will help us to determine kung ano yung nagiging underlying problem ng bata. Pero ang speech and language therapist ay may sarili po kaming assessment to see kung ano yung skills na meron at nawawala dun sa bata para matulungan sila with their speech and language concerns. Now, for a developmental pedia, gusto kasi nating malaman kung meron din mga problems sa motor skills and etc. Kung ano din ang magagawa natin to help the child in those aspects. So, kung pwedeng kahit yung speech and language assessment lang ang mapag-ipunan natin para lang masimulan kung paano tuturuan si baby and things that you can do at home. But also, Don, lahat. Meron ako dito ang how to improve attention for children na hirap sa attention. Wait, I want you to try that. Episode 50. So, try nyo yung mga tips ko doon. And then, lahat ng nabanggit kong other episodes that can help you here. I hope that helps you, Dawn. Ngayon lang tayo nakapag-usap. Narisa, so follow up to the child niyo po na may epilepsy, meron siyang tinitake na gamot. So that's very good kung under maintenance naman po yung bata and kung sobrang mas okay if namomonitor natin kung kailan, parang humahaba na ba yung panahon, yung duration ng mga seizures niya na hindi nangyayari. So that's always a good time, a good sign na kapag mas na-manage natin yung mga seizures niya, mas pwedeng mas tuloy-tuloy yung learning ng bata. And yes, ulitin ko lang for everyone, laging may pag-asa, guys. Hi, ate. Ako po yung nag-message sa'yo sa IG now. I'm doing so well. I'm reading books every day and I see improvements on my speaking skills but sometimes I see problems. Ano pong maipapayo nyo? John Dave, I'm so sorry if I don't remember kung ano yung concern mo kasi ang dami ko talagang kausap. Pero babalikan ko. I will look for your name. Or you can message me again para maging fresh yung message and hindi ko kasi maalala. But I'm so glad to hear that you are doing well. But hindi ko ma-answer yung sometimes you see problems. Problems with what? If you can describe to me, I hope to give you more advice. Okay lang ba? Nova Jarlic asks if okay lang pa makinig ng nursery rhymes through a speaker while nagpe-play or same lang din effects niya sa panonood ng TV. So usually music is okay, everyone. So ang problem sa hyperstimulation is usually visual po. Pero I also want you to take note that other kids also get hyperstimulated with auditory information. So you can try it na walang videos, only listening. Pero kung mapansin nyo na parang kahit naglalaro siya, halos hindi na siya maglalaro kasi nakikinig lang siya dun sa nursery rhymes, then it might also be distracting from the play. But you could also do the nursery rhymes with your child. Pero hanapan nyo ng way kung paano ito magiging mas communicative. So you can get tips on my action songs in episode 12. Kung paano mas magiging interesting at paano magagawa yung action songs into something na mas stimulate yung sarili nilang verbal output. Good day, Japoy TV. Gina Rose Falcon, how many minutes of screen time is acceptable for 18 months? 0. No screen time from 0 to 2 years old. So that's 0 to 24 months. Ang ideal is no screen time at all. From 2 years old, you may start introducing a little bit of screen time. Pero ang importante dyan, guys, is unti-unti lang at never nagbababad. At always observe kung anong nagiging reaction ng bata. Because kahit na 2 or 3 years old na yan, kung susceptible pa rin siya to hyperstimulation, maaari pa rin silang ma-hyperstimulate by 3 years old. So, don't make it into a habit. Never pag-iwanan at pagbabarin. And, always observe for the after effects. Narisa, mahilig mag-point ng needs niya pero hindi nakakabuo ng words. May sounds din po. Okay din ang ears and eyes niya, sabi ng ENT doc. Pero yun nga, sa may EAG, may seizures pa po siya. Okay, so same episodes 8 and 8.1. Kapag nagtuturo siya ng needs niya, try niyo pong bigyan ng more opportunities and obstacles. So I want you to check out episodes 8 and 8.1. Harold, my son, diagnosis ASD level 2, nakakapagsalita na, paano ba turuan magbasa? How old na po yung anak ninyo? Because ang bata, hindi pa kailangang matuto magbasa ng until around 4 or 5 years old, and that's for typically developing children. Kung may ASD, meron din po bang language delay ang inyong bata? Kung may language delay ang inyong bata, then we have to know kung anong language age niya. Ang language age is kung ano yung napapakita niyang skills sa ngayon. So kahit na let's say 5 years old siya, kung ang language age niya ay 2 years old pa lang, then mas lalong we cannot expect na magbabasa yung bata. Because 2 years old, hindi pa kailangan magbasa at hindi pa kaya ng brain nilang magbasa. Mas maging focus natin ay yung functional communication. Car, my nephew is 23 months, still not able to say nay or tay or any word. Very seldom lang yung no. Nagmumurmur and babbling lang. We, auntie, uncle, tried to teach him, pero we are not his primary teachers. Yeah, I understand this. So, ayaw po bang magpatingin nung magulang ng bata? Because 23 months, that's almost 2 years old. Dapat po meron na siyang around ano milestone ng 2 years old? That's already around 50 words, I think. Yeah, around 50 words na dapat ang nasasabi. So this child is very delayed na po. But like so kung wala pa halos any word, the episode that I can recommend to you is episode 5, turning baby sounds into, so yung mga babbling niya, how do we eventually make them into words? And also, for all talaga, nare-recommend ko talaga ang episode 4, dubbing, and episodes 8 and 8.1. I hope that helps you. Happy New Year, Bernadette! Miles, Teacher Kaye, yung anak ko is 21 months old. Mama, papa, ate, tita pa lang nasasabi niya, late na po siya. Some of the kids po kasi na nakikita ko, late na po siya. Some of the kids po kasi na nakikita ko, kaya na magsalita sa age niya. Papa, ate, tita. So that's only around 4 words, no? And at 21 months old, at 18 months old, the child should already have at least 10 words na nasasabi. So yes po, delayed na po siya. So yeah, I have the same. Kung merong screen exposure, first thing to do is screen detox completely, at least try for 2 weeks. And then all the other things that I said, like kung mas madalas magbabble, try episode 5 on baby sounds to encourage more verbalizations, opportunities and obstacles, episodes 8 and 8.1. Hazel, hi also Rodelyn. Darren, hi Teacher Kaye, Happy New Year and thanks to your channel. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you who are here. Hello Chinky. Bakit po kaya as time goes by, mostly yung mga natututunan ni baby nakakalimutan niya? She was diagnosed with ASD last December 16. Sa social and language delayed po siya. Can you give me examples of things na natututunan niya tapos nakalimutan na niya? And did this happen once or is it happening continuously? Like hanggang ngayon, kunyari today matututunan niyang masabi yung dog, tapos bukas wala na. Tapos bukas natutunan niyang masabi yung cat, tapos next week wala na. So, lagi bang nangyayari or was it a one-time thing? Na dati napansin mo, may natutunan na siya, tapos nawala siya. Because usually regression happens talaga in ASD. You can learn more about that in episode 60. So, meron talagang aspect yung ASD na once the development starts diverging, it looks to us like nawala yung skill. But more likely, parang nawala lang yung relevance sa kanya because nga they are starting to think and process in different ways. Also for social, ilang taon na ba to? Ilang taon na po ba yung bata? Wala kang na-mention. But, so for social, focus on the milestones na kailangan nakikita na sa bata at this point. So, you have to know also the language age na sinabi ng doktor, or kung nagpatingin na kayo sa therapist, madedetermine yung kung anong communication age niya. Actually, your report should say, kasi kung na-diagnose siya ng December 16, your report should say motor skills and ganyan. Ito yung impression ng doktor kung ilang taon na siya. Speech and language, ganito. Social, ganito. So if you check that out, focus on the things na dapat nakikita at the language age. So kunyari, yung social aspect is, ang language age niya pala is around 8 months old. So focus on ano bang social aspects, like asking for help kapag may kailangan siya, or yan, usually requesting for kapag may kailangan imbis na tinatry niyang kunin on his own. Maria Cecilia, Teacher Kaye, sabi niyo po kanina, try po namin mag-screen detox. Baka po pwede kayo magbigay ng tips or activities kapalit po ng panunood niya. Thank you. Yes, I do have an episode on managing screen time. It is episode 22, managing screen time. So I gave there a lot of different things that you could do kapag hindi yon, kung kailangan yung palitan yon. But also you have to make sure that I understand na a lot of you, kasi a lot of parents, iniiwan yung anak kapag may kailangan silang gawin, 'di ba? So I just hope you understand na hindi kasi kailangan sa screen siya iiwan. Pwede siyang iiwan with toys, with the consideration na i-make sure nyo muna na lahat ay safe. When I say na lahat ay safe, make sure hindi makukuryente. Kunyari, iwanan nyo siya in a space, bakuran nyo na wala siyang mahahawakan na socket, hindi siya makakaakyat para hindi siya mahuhulog, hindi siya makakalunok ng maliliit na pieces ng kanyang mga laruan, etc. So number 1 is make sure they're safe, and then after, kailangan palitan nyo yung mga toys na nilalaro niya every so often. Tingnan nyo kung gaano katagal yung attention span niya per toy, and then obserbahan nyo, silip-silipin nyo, naglalaro pa ba siya? Hindi na ba? Okay, papalitan ko na yung toy. So more details on that in episode 23. Jepoy, kailangan ko na po ba ipatingin sa speech therapist ang anak ko, 4 years old, sobrang hyper. Kapag nagsasalita po siya, di maintindihan, pero may mga few words siya alam, parang memorization pa lang po. Yes, Jepoy, kung meron po kayong access and resources, it's always the best. Mas lalo lang 4 years old na siya. By 4 years old, halos natututunan na nilang sabihin lahat ng kaya ng adult. Maliban na lang syempre na ang vocabulary nila mas maliit pa from an adult, pero yung pagdudugtong-dugtong ng tamang paraan, yung pagkukwento, medyo alam na nila yung mga yan. So kung konti pa lang ang alam niyang words at parang memorization pa lang, at ano yung na-memorize niya, kung kakanood yan ng mga videos, again, the tip is screen detox po muna is na number 1. Next po is improving attention. So nasabi ko na rin kanina, I have an episode on that. So episode 50, tips on improving attention. So I hope that helps you. Oh my gosh guys, sobrang dami pa. I am so sorry, but it's already, malapit na tayong mag 2.5 hours, and I'm really seriously, napapagod na ako. So I'll just try to do this more often, and I'm so happy na nandito tayo in the same space together, kahit virtually lang. Thank you guys for believing me and trusting my advice, kahit na sino ba man lang ako, diba? A lot of you have not been here from the start, so hindi nyo alam kung sino ako, anong ginagawa ko. So thank you for sharing the problems of your family and kung ano yung in-advise ko is I hope masubukan ninyo. And if you haven't yet guys, mag-subscribe po kayo sa aking channel, ito, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram kasi mas madalas marami din akong infographics that I share information, and dun din ako nag-a-announce kapag magla-livestream ako ulit. And because ang favorite kong ipaalala sa inyong lahat is kahit gaano kahirap guys, laging may pag-asa. Ang therapy principle is based on pag-asa. Na kapag gawin natin araw-araw, ulit-ulit, at hindi tayo nawawala ng pag-asa, ay mag-i-improve at mag-i-improve din po talaga yung mga individuals na kasama natin. Kaya anak yan, pamangkin nyo, kapatid nyo, whoever. And guys, pataas na naman yung mga cases ng COVID. So, if matagal pa tayong ganito, always remember to take your vitamins, drink lots of water, laging mag-mask, at yung mask po, kasama po ang ilong doon na lahat po ng pwedeng pasukan po ng virus ay kailangang nakatakip. Also, yung mga hindi pa po nagpapabakuna, I suggest po, I strongly encourage po na magpakabakuna. Kung meron po sa inyo ang hindi naniniwala sa bakuna or meron kayong hinala or takot sa bakuna, feel free to message me because I can explain to you kung bakit walang dapat ikabahala sa bakuna. Nag-work ito at tinutulungan ito para matapos na itong ating kahirapan dito sa COVID. And yeah, thank you again and happy New Year. Thank you for hanging out. To the 29 people who are still here, thank you. Grabe ang epekto nyo lahat at ng tiwala ninyo sa aking buhay to it has made my life feel more meaningful. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, stay safe guys. Happy talking and mabuhay.